Welcome in on this Friday morning. As you can see, it's the two of us this morning. We might have some people swinging in, swinging out. We'll see. But as of right now, it's the gruesome twosome. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Feeling good, blessed, ready to talk some football. It's getting closer and closer and closer. Let's talk about it.
Man, I can't wait. Absolutely. The season can't get here soon enough. It is simultaneously, it feels like we have been away from football for years. And it also feels like it shouldn't be this close to being here, right? Like this has been
Right.
such a crazy offseason. I think most Alabama fans will relate to that given everything that's happened. Saban retiring, the coaching search that felt like it took a week. And it's always crazy, coach, if we may, before we, do our introductions, I do want to get your take on this and everybody hopping in. Thank you for being here with us on this Friday morning. I'm really interested in your take on this as well. Boomer, happy to see you, my guy. It felt like that coaching search took all of 48 hours, but I
Yeah.
swear, man, I mean, you were there. We did all those live shows together. It felt like it took 2 weeks. That was
Yes.
the longest 48 hours of my life. Did you feel like that, or was that just me being crazy?
No, I felt the exact same way. We were on.
And Coach Sean hits the transfer portal this morning. Oh, he'll be right back. But listen, that's the beauty of doing live shows, right? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Jermaine, happy to see you. Mike Jones, happy to see you. Bino, happy to see you. We got a lot to talk about today. Coach Sean, whenever he gets back in here, he might have hit a quarter or something. I'll let him continue. Walt, happy to see you. But guys, excited to hear. How are you feeling? Has fall camp answered everything? Everything you wanted it to, or what questions do you still have? And this doesn't have to be Alabama specific. Boomer, if you have some questions about Oklahoma, as Coach Sean pulls a Caden Proctor, hit the transfer portal, and is now back. What the hell happened?
Next time I should check the charge on my computer before I go on, right? This way I'll know that when the little battery thing has only one bar in it, that means your ass is about to lose power. You live and you learn,
And you
right?
learn. Well, outside
But
of that, how you doing, Coach?
hey, Watt, what up with you, bro? But as I was saying, man, what's up, Boomer? You already know. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is for me, man, um, I was on pins and needles because I wanted so I don't know if I was just so um intricated. I don't know if I was just so enamored with who the coach was gonna be, or I was just still in pissed off mode and heartbroken mode because Coach Saban retired. Right? I think it was a little bit of both. And it seems like to find the next coach took so long, guys. But Ty is 100% correct. It didn't take very long, actually. Didn't take very long. You had a lot of coaches out there who got raises off the Alabama name, and a great agent. Shout out to Jimmy Sexton. Um, but at the end of the day, you got to salute the all the personnel, all the administrators, all the decision makers, athletic directors, everybody who understood Greg Byrne. These guys understood they had a plan. He asked everybody, just give me how many ever hours he asked for. And the guy delivered. The guy delivered. I think at this point, the hiring of Coach DeBoer and his staff has been as about as well as you could possibly go. The recruiting, the efforts, the changing of guard, the media access, everything has went as about as well as you could possibly hope for during this transition from the GOAT.
Yeah, it has gone as well as you could hope because this could have really gone left, coach. And
Yes,
I
it could
know
have.
there are so many people out there. And let me be very clear here. Though I'm excited, though Coach Sean is excited, I don't fault anybody who's taking a wait and see approach on Alabama right now. I would disagree and be like, hey, I think Bama is going to be Bama, not saying it's going to be Nick Saban, where it's like natty, competing for a natty. I think the sport is a little bit different now,
Yes.
especially with the expanded playoff. I think that just even competing, trying to get to that point, that's where Bama should be. And I think that they will stay. But if you're someone who's taking the approach of, hey, I don't think Bama's going to fall off a cliff, but I don't know who they're going to be. I can't be mad at that take. I can't fault you for that. I might not agree with it because I know what's on this roster, but I don't fault you for having that opinion, right? Anthony states the one question I still have as a Hurricane fan is who is going to be my starting corner across Porter, with Brown being the slot, and who's going to be our strong safety. That's interesting because I think y'all's safety room was one that a few years ago you were very excited about, especially with the young talents you get. But I'm very excited about Coach Jackson, who makes his debut for the Miami Hurricanes, because he did real good stuff at Marshall, right? Real good stuff. And he was with, oh man, I always butcher this name, Lance Guidry. Yeah, he was with Lance Guidry at Marshall. And that was a team that was a top 30, I believe, in passes intercepted, Anthony. So I think that y'all got a good coach there. And Miami is one of those teams where you should have the talent. You should have the talent. Mike Jones says Miami still has fans. Hey, Mike, I gotta say, man, Anthony's is a real one. He has been such a big supporter of this channel. Comes in here, asks great questions, and I think that this is a very real conversation. Very real conversation, Anthony. I am not 100% sure what y'all's secondary is going to look like, but I really do think that y'all made a very sneaky good hire in Chevis Jackson, I apologize, Chevis Jackson, for the
That Miami,
quarterback coach.
that's Miami, Ty.
Yeah, they hired,
Yeah.
he was at Marshall last season.
Right.
And he's a sneaky good, dang it, there goes my camera. He's a sneaky good he's a sneaky good defensive backs coach, man. Like I
Yeah.
really think that they got someone.
I think, man, if the administration in Miami just chill out. I mean, I know that sounds really, really, really you know, copacetic, whatever. If they just chill out, man, Miami will be if they just chill out. What I mean by chill out is don't panic if they go 8-4. If you're behind Mario, then be behind him, right? Make the fan base understand that a national championship takes time, man. It takes time. Press the administrators, press the decision makers to get in there and use some of that private institution money to build your own stadium. That really helps. Get the hell out of Hard Rock Stadium, man. Get the hell out of Hard Rock Stadium trying to travel 35, 40 miles for a football game. No, tear some of them old ass buildings down around Coral Gables, build you a stadium, pay the taxes on that damn thing, and get Miami football back to where it belongs, right? Stop putting tape over everything. Stop having these unrealistic expectations and learn that you got to build it brick. I know it's a what's Tennessee's old coach that was a GA at Alabama?
Oh,
Uh Butch
Jones.
Butch Jones. I know it's a Butch Jones saying, but it's brick by brick, man. Miami is it's no excuse for a school as rich as Miami to be playing in the Dolphin Stadium. It's no damn excuse for that, man. You're Miami. These dudes got money coming out of all four holes, bro. It's a private institution. They have some of the richest investors in the land down there. It's
It's a good
no
school too.
excuse. Yeah, it's a good school. And it's like, come on, man. Get off your, you know what? Build a stadium. Take from UAB. Go build you a stadium and look at the money that's going to come in then. You know what I mean? Everybody who canceled UAB football when they was playing in Legion Field in Birmingham are fired now. They no longer work for the university, right? They got a whole new genre of young, energetic people that built Protective Stadium in the middle of Birmingham. And look at UAB now. Paid on top of paid, on top of paid, and competing at its highest level in years.
No, I love it. And I do actually love this comment from Anthony, coach, because he says, Coach, the issue is the fan base has no patience with the
True,
Hurricanes. We've dealt
true.
with mediocrity for the past 20 years after 2001, that we don't have patience for wait to Mario to build.
That's a
And
fact.
if I may add to that, Anthony,
It's a whole fact.
Mario wasn't supposed to be building for very long, right?
Right.
Like he was supposed to come in there and instantly have it. Instantly is, an objective term, but it fairly quickly have that thing running like a machine. So I do feel this, Coach. Like I think that this is a pretty good comment because it's like, well, we've been patient for 20 years. And, before anybody says, oh, well, this team hasn't won it's not like they've even been in the conversation, right? Like it's been about 20 years since OU last won a national championship, but OU has been in the conversation multiple times. If it wasn't for that weird play call, and if they had a defense, Coach, you and I have talked about this, OU had a defense, they'd have a ring. Like here recently, they would. But if I'm an OU fan, I'm not even worried about the amount of time it's been since we had a national championship because one, you saw one of the most unique runs in all of college football history with Coach Saban, right? Trap House, my man, great channel. Trap House, if you're available, bro, I'd love to have you come in and join in this conversation. Let me know. I'll shoot you the link right now. It's been far too long, man. I hope you're doing good. Coach, whenever I first got started into YouTube, Trap House and I were in each other's comments every day, hyping up each other's videos. He makes great stuff.
So
Big OU fan. He shows a lot of love, and I got a lot of love for Trap House. But my point here and why I agree so much with Anthony's comments is I think that there are different levels you can look at this, right? Like there are several teams that have gone on a little bit of a, dare I say, drought. But how have you handled the drought?
you handled it.
Miami
Yeah.
hasn't been in the conversation. OU has still been one of the top 10 teams most years in terms of they went to the playoffs a few times. They've been good teams. They've been pushing. It's just they didn't have a defense. Something happened. They're, injuries. Like it is what it is. That's the game of football. But as much as you're right, Coach, I do feel for Anthony when he says it's been 20 plus years. We don't have patience anymore. What do
And
you think about that?
let me say this to Anthony and Trevor Premier, my brother from the house right there.
Yeah, shout out Trevor
That's my
Paneer.
that's my boy, man. Trevor make a good point. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like the city of Miami is so Miami is unique, man. The only other city I can even compare to Miami is LA, right?
Mm.
It's such a great damn city that is so much to do. If the college football team sucks, so what? I'm going to the, you know what I'm saying? So when Trevor Paneer says they built the Marlins of that stadium, that shows you the pro fan base, the college fan base, like it's dissected in that city. Very similar to LA, right? Lots of other things to do. So when you see a team like Miami, I think, yeah, they hadn't won in 20 years, they hadn't been relevant. Cool, but neither has Nebraska. But guess what? Nebraska has the facilities in place. They went
Mm.
out and got a great coaching staff. Their fans still pack the house and they still have a record sellout every Saturday. Their fans don't get on YouTube, not the multitude of them, not in waves and beat up the coaches. Nebraska is still Nebraska in a lot of things. Now they're not winning right now, right? But the asses are still in the seats, right? The money is still coming. They aren't broke in Nebraska by far, right? So I think Miami has to start from the bottom, man. You got to get the fans. First of all, when Coach Hayes says the ticket, there's no excuse for a Miami football ticket to be the same price as an Alabama football ticket. That just doesn't make sense. You need to humble yourself, lower those tickets, get those fans back in there, make it accessible to your community. Get those fans back in there, man. Get those rabid fan bases back in there, wherever you play at, right? And that's where it starts, man. You can't go on national TV with 20,000 fans in a 70,000 seat stadium. It looks utterly ridiculous. That's number one. Sure, you're gonna get kids because it's Miami, right? Sure, you're gonna get kids. You have the money to get into NIL. That won't be Miami's problem ever. I've always said, man, it's just the things around it. Anthony makes great points. He's 100% correct. That's probably one of the most truest comments I've seen. It's so much going on around the football program at Miami that's hindering it. That's hindering the football program itself. Shout out to Coach Carl as well. Shout out to Ready Rock as well, big homie.
Yeah, and this is something we've heard before. that it's not the university, it's not the football program, it's the actual city government that's allowing it. And if that's the case, that's tragic. Because I'm not saying that that's the only thing Miami needs to fix.
Yeah.
But damn it, coach, if that's not a step in the correct direction. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, damn it, if that would. I think back to this, and I don't mean to send shots, Anthony. If there's any other Miami fans that watch this, just know personally, coach might disagree with me here. I want Miami to be back good. I think there are certain teams in college football, when they are good, college football is better.
Yeah.
Miami's gotten
everyone's interest. Yeah.
They have an infectious brand.
Facts.
I want them good. I take no pleasure in, well, okay, let me not go. I was about to say I take no pleasure in the Georgia Tech loss. That was funny. I take no pleasure in the rest of the things that have happened to Miami. That was objectively funny. Let's be honest here. But that's just sad. And I'm going to bring up this example. Remember when Julian Sayin took that Miami visit and they were like, oh, well, in Tuscaloosa, what are you doing on a Saturday night? And Julian Sayin just looks at the camera. And it's not even about Tuscaloosa. Yes, he was committed to Alabama at one point. Shout out Julian Sayin. Hope he does well wherever he may be. Very talented kid.
Yeah.
It was the fact of like, you can't use your nightlife as the only recruiting tool because there's a lot of these kids. One, colleges are going to have things to do no matter where you're at. I went to college in Denton, Texas. There was stuff to do, right? Like no matter what college you're at, Texas Tech is in the middle of nowhere. And it's regarded as, and here in Texas, it's a big time party school. There are things to do. You don't need a Miami. I'm not saying that it doesn't help. I think everybody would love to go to college in Miami. Point being, you're going to have things to do. So what else are you recruiting these kids off of? Because it can't just be, oh, hey, we got the beach. We got all this. And I really hope Miami gets there. Now, Anthony, I did see your other comments. And I have kind of a blanket answer to this. Interested in hearing your take, Coach and Anthony. Says, Ty and Coach, you guys are realistic Alabama fans. I live around a ton of Bama fans in Sarasota, and they're very unrealistic. They expect KD to be winning a championship in his first year. Blue blood fans are going to blue blood. That's my favorite thing. That's why, I think, dare I say, this is why Alabama and OU, I won't say it's a rivalry, but they have this healthy rivalry respect between one another. Like you look at the comments in my video or in the lives or whatever. And for the most part, it's the fact that there might be some trash talk between the two, but it's not the same as other teams' trash talk because blue bloods are going to blue blood. Their expectations are never what everybody else's expectations are. And that's why I love blue blood fan bases, because you have had so much success that you are just going to be, dare I say, a little delusional. Because why wouldn't you be? You know what I mean? You're going to, you expect to be one of the top teams in college football. Historically, you have been. Blue bloods are going to blue blood. And that's why I really do think on my channel in particular, there's this healthy relationship between Bama and OU fans where even the trash talk at the end of it, I've seen so many funny comment strings. It'll be 30. And at the end of it, they might not agree, Bama and OU fans, but they're really looking forward to coming to Norman. And then the OU fan will reply, gonna be a great game. Can't wait to go to Tuscaloosa. And it's just that's because they understand each other. They're both blue blood teams, and blue bloods are going to blue blood. I don't know really what else to say.
Thing is this, and this may be a little, and I'll admit before I say this might be a little of might be a little pinch of disdain in what I say. And my hate for Tennessee may have driven this take a little bit. I don't hate Miami. I don't hate I actually respect Miami. I like the team. I love Coach Hayes. They have a lot of good content creators, a lot of dudes that
They
know
really
ball over
do.
there. It's just their fan base is kind of damn ridiculous to me, right? Um, but when just me, right? And I'm a little older, I'm in my 40s. So for me, and I get this from the kids I'm around when we coach in high school ball. If the kids who are freshmen and sophomores and juniors, I'll even say seniors, let's just go 22, 23 years. If they have no recollection of you ever being good, I don't know how much blue blood you are. You know, right? I mean, me being an older guy, yes, Nebraska, Miami, these guys are top-notch programs. But I want you to, and this is my beef with the Miami fan base. I want you to understand that a kid who's a senior in college has no recollection, has no memory of you ever doing anything. And that's not me being disrespectful. I'm saying really think about that before you talk. A kid who's 21, 22 years old doesn't even remember me being good. That should hit home. That should hit home. And that's my thing with these fan bases like Tennessee. Like you talk as if you've won something. I understand you want your program to be good. We all do, right? But you really talk as if you won something. You will hate on Alabama, you will hate on Georgia, you will hate on Ohio State. You can't hate on nobody. You can't even hate on LSU. LSU's won 3 titles with 3 different coaches, I think. Right? Saban won 1, Ogeron won 1, and Les Miles won 1. LSU's won 3 titles of late in the last what, 15 years, 20 years. So if a kid who's 20 has lived for 2 decades has no recollection of you even being good, you should think about that before you talk bad about somebody who has 6 titles. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
All
and I don't disagree. I mean, you go on Twitter and you would think that Miami was the Georgia Bulldogs. There are few fan
facts.
bases out there that when they start talking what I would deem crazy, it's like, okay, like Georgia. And I know that a lot of Bama fans aren't going to agree with me on this, and that's fine. I'm not here to be agreed with. I'm here to be understood. If you leave this stream saying I get where Ty's coming from, but I disagree, fair. That's completely fair. I've done my job. But Georgia is one of those fan bases that when they start talking crazy, I will disagree. But it's like, okay, you won back to back. You didn't go this year because Bama stopped you, but Bama's the only team that stopped you, right? Bama's the last 2 losses you have had have come to Bama. And if your last 2 losses over multiple seasons is to Nick Saban and Alabama, that's not exactly a bad outing.
Right.
Right? Like you can talk crazy because you've earned it. That's why Bama fans will talk crazy. And it's like, well, what are you really going to say? Michigan, y'all get y'all's year. You won it. Michigan can say what they'd like. I can't say anything to it. You won the national championship. No matter how I feel like it would have gone down if Seth was consistent at snapping the ball, amongst other things, that's not what happened. And we can't live in that alter reality. We have to be here. So, Michigan, you can talk. Coach, I sent you that link. Love to see it. Ty, I've said this multiple times. Rome wasn't built in a day. Completely agree. Saban took a while to start winning 10 and 11 games. I think that the difference is, Anthony, is the starting point of the 2 teams, right? Like where Coach Saban took over and where Coach DeBoer took over, 2 entirely different things.
And Saban got there in '07. He won a title in 2010. The 2010 season, 11, LSU.
And they
It
were
took him
coming
what?
off of sanction.
Yeah, and they're coming off sanctions. Facts. What's up, Coach Carr? Hmm. What's going on, Coach? How you feeling? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. How about y'all, gentlemen?
Bless, brother. Bless.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain.
I know, right? If you do, it won't do you no good.
100%.
Come on.
100%. Nobody's going to listen. Moon says there are some things we can. Didn't they know everybody's place? Sure. And I listen, we had this debate the other day. They still won it. So, I mean, listen, you can say something back. I guess my point with that, Moon, is that, like, I'm less mad at a Michigan fan saying something to me than a USC fan. No offense to USC, right? Like, we've had this conversation about USC. Loved the hires they made on the defensive side. Doug Belk over there now, Matt
Yeah.
Entz, Coach
Matt Entz.
Henney on the defensive
Facts.
line. They killed it on their defensive hiring. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. Excited
Yes,
for
they
y'all.
did.
But I'll take heat from a Michigan fan before I take heat from a fan that your team didn't even go to the playoffs.
That's a
Or
fact.
or even Georgia. Like, don't get me wrong. You can slap down the Georgia stuff by saying, like, oh, well, Bama beat you. But at least Georgia, that's their first loss in 2 seasons. Regular season. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, well, you're still objectively speaking a top 5 team in all of college football. You can sit at the table. You're here right now. You can sit at the table. If you're, and this is going to hurt me, if you're Nebraska, I don't want to hear from Nebraska right now, right? Like, they can't chime in. You can chime in on the conversation, but just know I'm going to look at your opinion maybe a little bit different than, say, a Georgia, even a Michigan, because you won it.
Yeah.
You won it. A Bama, like these teams that have competed. I'm not even saying you have to even win a national championship. You can join the table if you have been to the playoffs, if you have competed at a
Ohio
high
State.
level.
Facts.
Right? Like, you can at least say something. Yeah, at least they executed it to victory, no doubt about it. Bama owned. No, 100%, Kareem, 100%. But
Can I say this, Ty?
100%.
Piggybacking on what Ty is saying, Ty is 100% correct, and you can chime in on this too, Coach. We give Georgia the utmost respect. You'll never see Ty, myself, Coach Carl, because we understand winning is hard. We get it, man. Winning is hard. Georgia won 2 natties. I think we're the only team to beat them in the regular season, or whatever it was, only team to beat them, or whatever it is, in 3 years, whatever the case may be. But here's the bottom line, man. The truth is in the details. You could be a Georgia fan, and we get it. But really ask yourself, how do you hate on Alabama? The one championship you won, you dodged us, right? You got there, you done your business, you beat the brakes off somebody. TCU, I think it was. We didn't get a chance to get at you. You know what I mean? Like we should have, because I think LSU went to the SEC championship that year. We lost an overtime game to LSU. We lost a last second play to Tennessee, right? You dodged Alabama on the one championship you really won outright. You beat us in a game, and this is not an excuse because you guys said Brock wasn't healthy, Lad McConkey wasn't healthy, and you're right. I won't take that from you. We beat a wounded Georgia team.
But they beat a wounded Bama team.
So if I'm acknowledging that and telling you you're right, you guys weren't at your best, then tell the truth about this, and I'm gonna give you a better detail of it. Yes, we were out without Jameson Williams. We were without John Mechie. We were without Josh Jobe at one corner. We were without Jalen Armour Davis at the other corner.
Mm-hmm.
We had 4 starters out, and 3 of those 4 were all SEC, and one of them was all American. 2 1,000-yard receivers, both of them gone. Here's the detail that should really tell you my point is better than yours. We played you 2 weeks earlier with these people and whipped your ass. We put belt to ass on you 2 weeks prior.
That's
this isn't a
context and nuance.
Context and nuance. This is not a hypothetical thing where if no, we played you in the SEC championship in your backyard and put belt to ass. Beat you. We played you 2 weeks later without all 4 of those people and still had an 18-13 lead in the 4th quarter till Bryce threw that pick. So you can tell yourself what you want. And lastly, your team, your great team that I respect, is 1-5 against Nick Saban and Alabama. We played you 6 times. You've lost 5 of the 6.
No doubt. And if I may, Kareem says Bama owns Georgia. Kareem, respectfully, if you could go back and tell me where I even said they were equal, I'll Venmo you $100. I'm gonna pull a Josh Pate right now. I never said they were equal. I'm saying that there is a level of dominance that you have had to even say anything to Alabama.
Thanks.
Bama, you're right. Bama has owned Georgia. That's not my contention. My contention is they've won 2 national championships.
Yeah.
They have had success. If there is a team out there that can say anything, Georgia's the team. And you're right. I'm not saying that that all of a sudden, because those 2 national championships, they are on Bama's level. That's not my contention at all. My contention is in the grand scheme of college football, who are, oh, no, 100%, bro. 100%. This was just a larger point. This is just a larger point, Kareem. You know, it's all love, bro. I've seen Josh Pate say that 100 times, and I had to get my opportunity to say I'd Venmo someone $100. That's all that was, right? But my point is like, I'm going to take Georgia saying something before I'm going to take like Nebraska saying something. Because if a Nebraska fan says it, I'm going to look at them and be like, where the hell have y'all been the last 30 years of college football, bro? Like, what are you talking about? Where if it's Georgia, I can be like, okay, well, you've got 1 win, but you got 2 natties, right? No, Kareem, I apologize. I'll take the $100. Oh, my man. I apologize. I didn't mean to make that sound like I've seen Josh Pate say that 100 times, and I had to get mine in where I could fit it in. But you're 100% right, Kareem. You are 100% right. Even though I do believe that Georgia has had the success to sit at the table, you're 100% right. In no universe can I say Georgia's on Bama's level, and that's not my take here at all. You're 1,000% right there.
Hey, Ty, you think about it like this, Ty. If it wasn't for Nick Saban in Alabama, Georgia would have had at least 4 national championships right now.
100%.
Think about that. Say it again, Coach. Think about that, Georgia fans. That's true. Man, that's true.
At least. We took one from them in the national championship game. We beat you in the SEC title game when you were number 1 team in the country, heading into the playoff. And then last year, man, like, if it wasn't for Alabama, Georgia would have had, man, it been 5 championships. 5. They would have went.
Well, you think about that. Was it Aaron Jones, the quarterback? What was that, 2013 SEC championship game?
Aaron Murray.
Aaron Murray. Thank you. So I don't know why I said Aaron Jones, but you know exactly. That's one of the greatest games I can remember. That was a game. But so good point, Coach.
That's 6 right there. Just think about it. That's 6 that Georgia would have won, which wouldn't have been Nick Saban. So yeah, Georgia's on that map with Alabama, man. But we just got the benefit of the rings. Georgia got the teams. We got the rings.
I like that.
They always had great teams with a lot of great players, but we were just better. We were just better.
I know, Kareem. Isn't that crazy? Like, if you research the teams with the most national championships, it's way back in the gap. But guys, back in the gap, those Ivy League teams used to be fucking cold, right? Yeah. Now, granted, there's a lot of context, there's a lot of nuance to this, but you're right. Like, it's the Ivy League, and like way back in the day, they just released like a list of the top 10 from when the AP first started. And it's insane, like, the difference. Duke was up there. Army was up there. Y'all know how I feel about Texas A&M, but I do have to give them some flowers. They were a team that was up there back then, right? And, like, they're still, I mean, it's Texas A&M. They're not at the table. But I'm just saying, like, it was crazy looking at all the teams that aren't even hardly relevant in college football anymore. And there were a few that were up there. No, because if they won with Aaron Murray, then they would have missed on Kirby. That's an interesting point, Dino.
That's an interesting point. That's true.
That's a really damn good point.
Yep. Mark will still be there.
And that's crazy, right? Because Mark Richt wasn't doing bad.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, man.
Hey, I don't think they would have missed on Kirby, because Kirby had opportunities to go plenty different schools. He only chose Georgia. He had plenty of opportunity to be head coach. He turned them all down to stay with Coach Saban. But when Georgia called, that's his alma mater. It was just it wasn't a second thought in the Georgia process. Georgia called, Kirby left. Yeah, I mean that was just it. You called me from Georgia, he was gone. He had Auburn opportunity, Tennessee opportunity,
South Carolina, North Carolina. Yep.
he turned
True.
them down. It was just
Yeah,
that
that's wild.
going home to Georgia. He knew when he went home to Georgia, he would keep all the talent in Georgia, get all the talent from Florida he could. He could beat Coach Saban out for Alabama talent because he had bit the record so big in Alabama that a lot of the fan base and the parents and stuff in Alabama loved him. So it wasn't a problem with him going to Georgia. It was a problem with him leaving Bama, going places that he knew weren't going to win. Because Georgia was already winning with 8, 9, 10 games a year. All he had to do was just bring in the pedigree, and he took Nick Saban pedigree and turned to a championship program. But you can't say nothing bad about Georgia, shit. But they lost to Alabama 3 times in 4 years, or 3 times in 3 years, and the only team that beat them was Alabama in 3 years.
It's a fact.
Well, and Coach Carl, before you came in here, one of my points was, and you probably heard me say it, I was like, if the only loss you've had in like your run is 2 to Nick Saban in Alabama, that's not a bad place to be.
That's
right?
a great place to be. I mean, damn, who wouldn't rather have a season like Georgia that you lost 2 games to Alabama? I'd take that any day, all day, any day. And then when you finally beat them, you celebrate that shit. You jump up and down, you hoop and holler, you scream, you go on YouTube and dance. You be all on Sports Center dancing and enjoying it because you finally beat Nick Saban. Even though we lost 4 starters, well, you still beat Nick Saban.
Thanks.
You know what kills me about that game, gentlemen? Bama had all the opportunities to win.
I was just about to say, Ty, but if when they Jai Hall catch those 2 touchdown passes, you lose to Alabama.
You still lose.
Well, Jaleel Billingsley as well.
Stars.
Yep.
Billingsley had the first down, caught.
Yeah.
Didn't catch it. I think he also had one that if he would have caught it, there was nothing but green grass for him until the touchdown. And he's so damn athletic. Ain't nobody was catching him.
That's
guys,
correct.
For those of you that aren't like super big Bama followers, if there's like a OU fans in here, welcome. Miami, welcome. Everybody, you're welcome here. Bama had a tight end returning kickoffs.
Yeah.
Like, that's how athletic this cat was. And he fell on a route and then dropped a pass that would have just gotten them all the opportunity they needed. It was just a collection of like dropping the ball over and over and over again. So it was heartbreaking, quite frankly.
Look, this is what I say about players, and Coach know this just as well. I was told by somebody that on staff that kid was as talented as tight ends they've had. He just didn't have a motor. Like he just, they look for him to get to the front of the line. He's one of them cats that he'll turn it on Saturday or try to, but football is not that type of sport. Football and basketball that's why I say they're very different. Football, if you don't put the time in practice, you just can't show up and drop 40. You know what I mean? You got to practice how you play. It don't work no other way. Football is not that. Football is a collision sport. So you got to go out there and collide all week, and then it'll show on Saturday. You can't just take it easy through the week and then show up on Saturday. It just don't work like that, man. And the bottom line is this before we transition. The bottom line is this, and this is a harsh reality for every fan base, but it's the truth, man. The truth is in the details, man. Listen, if it's about winning, if it's about putting players in the pros, if it's about championships, if it's about brand name, if it's about how many games you get on ESPN, if it's about you being the best, there's not a college football team in the United States of America that can bad talk Alabama. That's just what it is. You make yourself look damn ridiculous. Bad talking Alabama.
Yeah.
And that's just straight up truth.
100%.
Sorry.
Yeah. 100%. I get it. Kareem, shout out for the $5. Says, Ty, I got anxiety just thinking about those drop. I do too, man. And that's why coming out of that game, Coach, you're 1,000% right. and I will never diminish the injuries Alabama had, specifically on offense. But the
J-Mo.
reason why, how do I say this without sounding crazy? I was still so irate at that game because I was like, even without J-Mo and Mechie, there was opportunity to win. It was there
18-13.
within your grasp.
We had the lead with 9 minutes left to go. 18-13.
And you didn't capitalize. And so that's why I was always like, hey, would it have been a different game with J-Mo and them? Yes. Not guaranteeing a win because we know how football is, guys.
When he got hurt, he had 65 yards receiving.
But
He was on his way.
we know how much of a thorn in your side he was to stop. God bless America. That guy was incredible.
Could not cover him.
And he had just broke across the middle. Like he catch that ball going across the middle and that knee don't give out, he was still running.
Man, he was explosive.
His knee just gave out one. He planned and made that cut and knee gave out on him.
If he turf, man, that's what got me.
He's still running to the day.
Lack of talent's what got me, but I understand exactly where you're coming from, Coach. That turf monster is exactly what I'll blame. But for me, it was really
what Trevor Peniel said.
They played
the play J-Mo. Yeah. That's whole facts. Could not cover that man. That man was gonna have 150 plus yards at half the way that game was going. All facts.
A perfect cracker. I mean, you can listen, it's a free country. You can say whatever you want. You're also free to be wrong, right? Like, and that's not to say that there aren't teams MILF in the stands. I don't know about that story. I'd love to hear it. There are teams that can, this is the whole point I was saying at, guys. There are teams that can sit at the table whenever we're talking about the greatest teams in college football. There are teams that can sit at the table. But if you're just outright talking bad about any of those teams, you're wrong. You know what I mean?
Wrong.
Like,
because
it's okay. Those teams can just point to unbelievable history, and it's like, what are you gonna say? You can't, right? Like, and in no way am I saying Bama is alone in that, but I am saying in the modern era of college football, Bama's on top.
And you can bad talk them, perfect cracker. You can do that. I don't even know what he's talking about a meal, but you can do that.
I know. I am kind of interested because that might be a funny story that I don't know about. So I am interested in hearing that, a perfect cracker.
But it's kind of like what Kareem said, Coach Sean. I tell people I talk football and fandom facts over fiction all day. Hey, let me say it in the words of Kareem: facts over fiction all day. So you can talk them bad about them if you like, but if you're really a football person, championships, NFL players, winning, culture. There's not a team out there that wouldn't want Alabama's history over the last 15, 16 years. You can lie to yourself if you want. 6 national, not one or two or over 2 or 3,
crazy.
6. So you can tell yourself what you want. Just don't tell yourself you're better than Alabama.
Kareem with the $5. Thank you very much for the other $5 donation, Coach Sean. Once again, you read that, Coach. I like to talk football over fandom over facts and fiction all day, 100%. And no, Cracker, I think I'm nobody here is upset. I was genuinely curious about the MILF story. Like, I think that's hilarious. Like, listen, and I do acknowledge, because I believe you're an OU fan. OU has a seat at that table. This is what my point is. Like, y'all are a blue blood team. Blue bloods can sit at the table. But over the last 15 years, like Coach Sean has said, nobody's replicated the success that Alabama has had, right? Multiple things can be true at the same time. Like, you will never hear me, perfect cracker, taking away from the success of what it is Oklahoma has done as a program, because it's ridiculous. That winning streak y'all have. How many games is that, Steven, straight that y'all won? The draft picks y'all have had, the conference championships you've had, the national championships you've had, the Heisman success you've had. You're never going to see me take away from that, ever. Like, that's why I say y'all are one of the teams that can sit at the table. 47 straight games. Like, that's insane. Come on now. Come on now. That's insane. The only bad thing we can talk about Bama is that there's an unknown future. I don't even think that's bad, Steven. I just think that, like, I would acknowledge that's a fact that we don't know what Bama is going to be with DeBoer. But I also think that, like, DeBoer now has more talent. Alabama is still, like, there was a list, guys. I don't know if y'all saw it from Pro Football Focus. Alabama still has the most 5 stars in the nation on this roster. And they have the number 2 recruiting class right now. Hopefully they close on Ackland Deer. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So I don't even know that that's a bad thing, Stephen, but I do agree there is an unknown, right? Like there's 100% an unknown. Bama fans are excited, but at the beginning of this show, it's Bama. I'm grasping for straws here, says Stephen, and that's fair. Coach, like we said at the very beginning, if someone has this approach right here where it's like, hey, I'm not saying Bama's going to fall off a cliff, but I also just don't know what y'all are going to be without Nick Saban. I don't take that as hating. I take that as a principled question. There are principled questions, and then there's hating. This isn't hating, Steven. I think you're all good here. Perfect says you really don't know about the famous. I actually don't, man. And that's why I didn't want it to come off like we were. I actually don't know about that video. So I actually was like genuinely not even trying to like I was curious about what that was. How many Super Bowls those Squealers had in the throw that garbage cup away, Coach Sean.
Tell my homegirl Ebony, my beautiful, beautiful homegirl Ebony, my partner, that the Steelers will win a Super Bowl before them Bungle Browns will. What you bet on that?
Shout out to Ebony Carter's mom,
shout out
right
to Ebony.
in here.
Shout out to Pam too.
Shout out Pam, 100%. Shout out Steven, Kareem, everybody in here. Ebony, I saw that video of Noah going through the pad work, and boy, he's moving fast, fluid. Coach, I've said this so many times, and we're going to transition now into Alabama fall camp reactions and new faces turning heads, because that's not just relegated to Alabama. That's relegated to everybody. But talking about Alabama, Coach, I've said this. Coach Carl, I don't know if I've ever said this with you on here. Steven says, I know ball. You know that. I'm in a corner, and that's my only shot, talking about his comment about the only bad thing that you can say is that there's an unknown. I feel, and that's why I say, Steven, I don't take that question as hating. That's a question. And questions are perfectly acceptable, especially when you lose the GOAT. Love who Bama hired. I think we wouldn't be doing our justice as trying to be objective content creators even if we disagreed with the question, if we didn't acknowledge that's a fair question. Nick Saban is Nick Saban. I don't think there will ever be another, especially with how football is changing the landscape. And Ebony says, y'all didn't see that pick 6 though. Oh, do tell. Do tell.
Nobody cares. Tells Myles Garrett that footballers play with the helmets on. That's what I need you to do.
Oh, well, I think she might be referring to Noah.
Yeah. Oh, he had a pick 6. Noah had a pick 6.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do tell.
What? I seen him on the pads. I told Ebony this though. I told Ebony a couple months ago. I said, wait till you get to Bama. They're gonna put it back. They're gonna put about 10 to 15 pounds on him. Good weight, not bad weight. That boy gonna get more aggressive. They're gonna teach him techniques that he didn't learn in high school, and that boy gonna be Noah gonna be a monster, boy. Wait for. I'm just anxious to see. Are they gonna play him at which spot they're gonna play him at?
I think he's gonna be there with like Yonsei and all them. Because bro, his athleticism going to attack a quarterback, that's terrifying. For those of you in the chat who don't know who we're talking about, we're talking about Noah Carter.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't, go watch his highlight tape. I'm not
joking.
Offense. It's not only that he can play offense, Coach. There are teams out there that I think if he said, hey, I want to be a tight end, they'd have been like, please.
Easy.
Come on in.
Easy.
That type of this is high praise, but I do believe it. He would have been that same type of tight end that Jaleel Billingsley was. Like the type you could have had returning kicks.
Yes.
He did it in high school. He was a wide receiver. I made this joke the other day. Well, Ebony was in here. Coach Carl, I don't know if you heard it. I said Ebony and Jalen Mbakwe were those two guys that were like quarterbacks, defensive backs, head coach, offensive coordinator. They were the water specialists. They did everything for their team. And the reason why I do find that to be such a compelling argument and such a compelling thing we have to look at is once those guys like a Noah Carter or a Jalen Mbakwe focus in on one position, they are going to just soar.
Yeah.
Just soar. So awesome to hear Noah getting that pick 6. He's going to be just, Ebony's saying he's already gained 20 plus pounds. That Bama strength and conditioning. There are certain programs out there that just have unbelievable strength and conditioning facilities, right? They just incredible stuff. Bama is very. Go ahead.
Me and Smook was talking to somebody, and Josh told us that they making it very hard to keep Noah on the sideline his freshman year. They wanted to keep him and redshirt him, but Noah is making it very hard to keep him there. That boy gonna force his way on the field as a freshman, man. That's crazy. I knew that though, bro. That kid is. That's what DeBoer is doing, guys. He's bringing in these kids who can not only play the run, Coach Carl. These kids can play the pass. Athletes, man. These linebackers that can play the overhang. These guys that can do both, right? It's not, Dallas was a pass rusher. He could stop the run, but I didn't want to see Dallas in coverage. I didn't want to see Dallas cover nobody. He could, but I didn't want to see Noah. These kids can drop back and cover deep, cover shallow. These kids can cover from hash mark to sideline. They good, man. And I'm really, really proud of that kid, man. Coming in, this South heat is a little different. Kid coming in from the West Coast, adjust to it.
He was from Arizona.
Facts. All my West Coast friends always talk about how big the flies are down south. Why are y'all flies so big? They ask me that all the time. I got a lot of friends from LA and from all over the West Coast. For that kid to come in here, 100-degree heat damn near, and really, really, really put on good weight and get more aggressive. I can't wait to see that kid on the field, dude. I cannot wait to see that kid on the field.
Yeah, and listen, if we're talking about some early reviews from fall camp, Stevie Nick says Noah highlights are crazy. No way. There are certain people, Stevie, that fall through the cracks every single year. We talk about this all the time, that end up being high 4 stars and they're underrated, right? I think Noah was one of those guys. I do. And, that unfortunately happens in recruiting. That's just unfortunately something that happens. Adam, haven't seen you in forever, my man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're happy. Hope you're healthy. Hope life is treating you well, as I hope with everybody in here on this Friday morning. But does everyone know with college football returning, there will be celebrating sorrow, and the best thing to help you with is a delicious bottle of Shady Miles. There's your weekly plug. I turned the wrong way. Shady Miles, ladies and gentlemen. Shady Miles.
Shout out, Adam.
So, guys, go ahead, Coach Carl.
One thing I can tell you, Ty, is a lot of folks don't understand that they only have 32 5-stars per year. 32. They can't add more, but they don't feel like keep adding on 5-star after 5-star was justified. It went from 25 to 32. Noah Carter was on the fringe of that 32. But they do, I can't lie, they do evaluate a lot of kids, and a lot of kids that they evaluate really don't be 5-stars. They just show up at the rivalries camps. When you show up at all these different camps, then they give you that extra bump what makes you a 5-star. And the ones who don't show up at their camp don't get that 5-star bump. So that's why Noah probably wasn't a 5-star, because he didn't show up at all those bullshit ass camps. Like, you gotta come to my camp for me to even rank you as a 3-star? Nah, I don't have to come to your camp then. Why should I come to your camp just to get a ranking? When you see my work, you see my film, you see how I put the work in the locker room. You see once I get on the field and you come watch one of my football games, you see how productive I am, how many yards I'm putting up, how many tackles I'm getting, how many sacks I'm getting coming out the edge. They see it all. But they want you to show up at their camp so they can get some money, so they can get some notoriety from you. Oh, Noah Carter came to my camp. So now everybody from the West Coast watching to see what he did inside that camp. So that's how they getting all the attention. And then they start throwing out those rankings because they getting all the attention. I mean, if you start judging people by their character, I don't think Colonel McClain should have been a 5-star. He was probably the most talented person in the country, but character-wise, he should have been a 3-star. And that's
Check
period.
out that comment. Check out that comment, Coach Carl.
No, this is 100% true. This is one of the biggest. I sympathize with a lot of recruiting, right? Because there are so many kids. I do not sit up here and think that it's an easy job to scout thousands and thousands of kids. But this is 100% true. It is bullshit that these camps are so expensive and it's almost a barrier. TJ
Facts.
LSU dad did a video on this years ago,
Yes,
and
he
he was
did.
100% right. Like, there's a barrier to recruiting, as my camera has given me a barrier to how handsome I can be on here and is now letting y'all see me point. But it's bullshit. Coach Carl, continue, because this is all facts.
Yeah, and like that's the bigger issue with recruiting nowadays. If you show up at some of these camps, they'll start throwing out these stars. But if you don't show up at the recruiting camp, you'll be rated no star and probably be one of the most talented kids in the country and won't even get a look. You end up have to walk on somewhere at a small school, and once you get in that small school and start dominating, you start turning heads around major college football. Everybody like, well, hold on, where that kid come from?
Facts.
But that's only because most of these families, just like Ebony said, she couldn't afford to go to those camps. Most of these families out here, man, they can't afford to go to all these different camps. If you want this kid to be in your camp, won't you offer the kid to come to the camp? Hey, this kid is affordable. Let's invite this kid to our camp. We making a lot of money on all these kids. Let's invite these kids to our camp. We'll pay for your flight, your hotel room, and your food while you're there.
Why isn't it that these media people aren't the ones paying to get in? Right? Like, they make so much money off the coverage. Shouldn't that be where the monetary value comes in as opposed to the players, the media?
Yeah.
And Coach, before I pass it back to you, Mike G says, well, now they're getting paid. So, but here's the thing, Mike, a lot of these NIL deals don't start until they get on campus. So it doesn't help during this process. I'm sorry, Coach. I did want to just address that.
It's all good talking. But the thing is, like you said, man, they talk about NIL money. NIL money start once you get on campus. They give you a little percentage when you get on campus and start working. But once the games start kicking in, that's when they start getting more of the NIL money. And you see, as you see with Texas A&M last couple of years, they offer all them kids $1 million. But their performance didn't stand up to the $1 million. They got nothing. A lot of those kids left, and when they left, they said, that, man, what $1 million? They didn't give us no money. The wide receiver, the all-world wide receiver, number 0, what did he say? The man ain't getting no money for Texas A&M. All that was just there to get you there. So what they doing, they get you on campus with the $8 million like they did in Tennessee. But that kid, Nico, don't perform. Nico's not getting no $8 million. I'm just telling you. I guarantee no $8 million that they offer that kid come with a Heisman Trophy run, and you got to make the playoffs. You got to have so many yards before the end of your career before you get them $8 million. I just don't see a school being that stupid to give a kid who never played a college game $8 million just to walk on campus. I just don't see it. And if they are, good luck, Nico. More power to Nico. And stupid Tennessee. Because Tennessee is a stupid, burnt, yellow team. So, I mean, they do crazy stuff like that anyway. But back to the kids, man. These kids go out here and they put up so much time in playing football. They put their bodies on the line. They put their academics on the line because a lot of time they worried about the next play or how I can get better in the next game. And then they lack it in school sometimes. Had to go home late at night doing schoolwork, trying to catch up on their schoolwork because they want to focus on being such great football players and winning. Because if you're not winning, you can be the best football player in the country and your team ain't winning, ain't nobody coming to your school to visit you. You gotta do all that tripping to go see people. You better be on the team that's winning. That's why you see all these top flight kids always trying to go to these mega power schools. Because they know those mega power schools gonna win and they don't have to worry about not getting recruited. Because you can come from a small market and man, you can be a 5-star kid in a small market. But your ass ain't winning. You ain't getting no offers. You better be that Noah Carter, like you said, that coaching defense, coaching offense, in the water, dancing with the
Yeah.
cheerleaders, out there training the band. You're gonna have to be that guy to get those offers. Because you not that guy, it ain't gonna happen. You look at a little kid down the street from us, we call him Duke, but his name that's Darius Smith. If Darius Smith were playing in Thompson, he'll be a 5-star.
It's a fact.
He'll be a 5-star. But by him being in Southside, the only reason why he get that 4-star rating because every time Alabama had a camp, somebody in his family paid for him to go.
Yeah.
The school was paying for it, family members paying for it, people off the streets were paying for him to go to those camps. That's how he started getting those rankings. Other than that, that kid been unknown. There's so many kids in Alabama, in Georgia, in Mississippi. There's a kid over there right now in Mississippi, in Taylorville, Mississippi, man. That kid should be a 5-star. But that kid is a 3-star kid. But his parents can't afford him to go to camp. So he goes to nobody camp. Dre Kirkpatrick could afford to send his son to camp, but he didn't. That's why his son came in as a 3-star. So those are the issues that we have. We got to figure out some kind of way to stop letting these folks make so much money off of these kids by paying you to come to your camp when you need me to come to your camp. I don't need to come to your camp to get to college, but you need me to come to your camp so you can give me a rating. On 3, go down there and visit those kids, and then you can evaluate them kids in their own hometown. Y'all making all the money.
It's a fact.
Our 24/7 sports. You want to evaluate a kid? Ride out to that kid hometown and evaluate him. Stop trying to have all these camps where you can make $300 or $400 just to get a kid to sign up for your camp. And then they gotta buy a hotel room. They gotta buy flights. They gotta pay for that
travel, food.
Yeah, they
Ebony
got
spoke on it. Yeah, Ebony spoke on it.
pay extra money for that little number that you giving them. Come on, man. They gotta do something better than what they're doing. Because all you're doing is evaluating kids that shouldn't even be in the top in the top of the college football recruiting rankings. Period.
That's the whole fact, man. That's a whole fact. I can speak to that. What Coach Carr just told y'all is the truest stuff you're gonna hear, man. Ebony just re-signified what Coach Carr said. I know my last couple years coaching high school football, and if Trevor Paneer in here, he right from the hometown too. He can tell you, man. That is 100% facts. We got Jaquez Watkins right now on the Steelers right now. Quez was the best athlete. Quez should have been a 4-star athlete, 4 or 5-star athlete. But Eddie Nicole wasn't finna pay all that money, man, to send this boy to one camp, $550 for the opening for a team and $350 for individual. How is $550 for a 7-on-7 team, but $350 for an individual on an invite only? This back when they had the opening. Now they still have the Elite 11. Yeah, they still have the Elite 11 in Oregon. They still have the Final 5, offensive line, defensive line, whatever it is. They call it something different now. But now it's like multiple locations. It's like multiple locations. You can pick and choose whichever one you want. They all making money. Quez should have been one of the top receivers in this country, bro. You know what I'm saying? He ended up going to Southern Mississippi. Auburn had offered him. You know, he didn't, they family not really big Bama fans. You know what I'm saying? Coached this kid all his life, right? Quez in the NFL now snapping. Had the third fastest 40 behind Henry Ruggs and somebody else, right? If Trevor Paneer here, he can tell you the same thing. Quez was that dude, man. And he in NFL ripping it up now, right? So that is true, man. If you do not camp, I'm telling you guys, this is a whole fact. If you do not camp, you will not get the stars. That is 100% thousand fact. You have 3. That's why you see teams with these 3-star kids supposedly still doing so well. These teams are winning, putting belt to ass because these kids were never 3 stars. They just didn't camp. Go ask Josh Jacobs about them 3 stars.
100%, 100%, and a perfect cracker. He made a great point. He said good coaches know this and don't star chase and find those kind of kids. You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
Facts. Yep.
And that's why, and I know that there are going to be some contention around this. I know that there are more coaches that do this, but I know for a fact there are 2 coaches. One of them just retired, Nick Saban. But for the most part, for Nick Saban, very rarely was an offer, at least from my understanding, Coach Carl, Coach Sean, if I am misplaced in this, please correct me, because I would rather be wrong and have it corrected so that the correct information is out there, as opposed to me just say something. So if I'm wrong on this, please correct me. But under Nick Saban, as I understand it, most of the time, very rarely was an offer just like a straight up committable offer. It was an offer to come camp. Whether you were a 0-star, 1-star, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 stars, it was an offer to come and camp. You know who else does this? Now, I don't know that the way they do it is the same. Brent Venables does this with Oklahoma, where he wants, very rarely are you going to be able to commit to Oklahoma unless they truly they want to see you camp. They want to see you not at a national camp, not at a Nike. I mean, they want you to come there so that they can evaluate you themselves.
Yes.
And
Oh, that's
I don't
perfect.
know how the monetary aspect of that all works. I'm sure that the NCAA has screwed it up and
I can
been
tell
like,
you, I worked
please,
a couple of
please.
those camps. I worked on the high school coaches, couple of those camps. The kids that they invite for they have high school 1, high school 2. They send them these. It's like they had these debit cards. It's like a debit. It's like a the kind of card you can
Preloaded
buy, but it's
cards. Yeah.
yeah, and it has like stipend money on there for gas and stuff to get down, no matter how far, depending on how far you're coming from. So Bama used to do a great job of that, of getting the kids to their campus. You know what I mean? I don't know about these national camps with all these national kids. I'm very positive they didn't offer nothing.
No, 100%.
Facts.
And I'll tell you what I'm very positive of. Stink Ass Cat having one of the best names. And thank you so much for the $50 donation. That means more than I could tell you. That's awesome, Stink. Thank you for that
Yeah.
donation. Thank you, everybody, for being in here. That just means the world, right? That really does mean the world. Thank you very much for that, Stink. It's good to hear that, and I'm sure, I have no doubt, right? Like, Brent is one of those guys that, even if you are someone who's questioning Brent Venables long term, you hear the reviews from parents about their time being spent around, glowing, glowing reviews on this man as a person. So I have no doubt that Oklahoma is probably doing something similar, where it's like a preloaded debit card situation to cover expenses. But a lot of these coaches that are getting your top recruiting classes, you'd be surprised. A lot of them will have kids. They want eyes on. They don't, excuse my language, they don't give a damn about these national rankings. Right? They don't give a damn about it. As Boomer says, he loves to see a whole panel chocked full of lip sweaters. Boomer's Coach Carl, Boomer, as you will learn, is one of the funny, like, there was a time where there was a group of people, and Boomer's one of them, who made it their entire goal to make me break while I'm doing my segments. They want to make me laugh. And Boomer has really tapped in to what makes me laugh. And he can just start railing off these comments. And he's been on Coach Sean about growing a mustache, as he calls it, a lip sweater.
Whatever.
And yeah, that's great. Coach Sean, Georgia runs the Kansas City Chiefs rub routes. Can you touch on the basics of the rub routes? Go ahead, Coach.
You have different kinds. Your basic rub route is where two receivers sort of line up close together. One receiver runs into the defender, the other receiver runs across. You do that. The basis of that is to make man coverage. You kind of just trying to get one of those receivers open, right? If these guys are playing man, and Coach Carr knows if they're playing man, you run a rub route. A lot of times the underneath receiver gets the ball, a la John Mechie against Auburn in overtime. Um, Very effective route. You also have deep crossers. You have a lot of different ways to run rub routes. Rub routes are very, very effective against teams that play man. You can run two receivers underneath. The offensive receiver, the both of the receivers, whether you're on the line of scrimmage or off the line of scrimmage, each have a job. There are some rub routes that are designed to where one receiver is not going to get the ball. He's just going to block. He may come in front of you to block that defensive back while you release outside and get open. A lot of different ways to run rub routes. People call them different things. Crossers, rub routes, we call it X underneath. A lot of different ways to run rub routes. Here's the thing about rub routes, though. If I'm not mistaken, in the NFL in the red zone, I don't think you can. I think some of that is illegal. I think it's illegal to run that in the
Oh,
NFL. So Clemson knows a lot about rub routes. They did it against Tony Brown against us.
yep.
You know what I mean? That's the only damn way the receiver got open. Um, very effective route when you're in the red zone. I'll say that.
Very.
Very, very, very effective route. Um, you don't really see rub routes in the middle of the field unless it's third and short or something like that. Maybe you're trying to get a quick couple of yards. Very effective because you can get your receiver open very quickly for a very short period of time. Very effective in the red zone, though. Very effective. Just a cross. It's just crossing you're just pretty much crossing the receivers to make the DBs. If you hadn't, I'll tell you. Let me put it this way: crossing routes. The legal way to run a crossing route is to run a bunch set, 3 receivers on one side. Now, then you can run crossing routes all day and all night with 2 of the 3. Right? Legally, they won't call it bunch set. But lining twins on one side of the field, 2 receivers, and trying to run a rub route, which is what Clemson did to us. I don't know how much of that I see in college football now. I do see it in the red zone every once in a while, but it's easy for the refs to throw the flag on that route. Now, they will throw it. NFL, I don't think you can do that. They will throw the flag on you in the league. But very effective in the red zone to get your receiver open to especially if you got young DBs. Very, very difficult to cover rub routes with young defensive backs.
Yeah, and if I could add on to that, just to give you guys some routes to kind of visualize this. Imagine you're in the red zone, and I'm going to have my slot wide receiver run a zig or an
Yeah,
out route, and my outside wide receiver, I'm going to put him on a drag,
yeah,
right, going right over the middle. And there's going to be that intersection where that wide receiver is either going to hit the defensive back, or even if it's not the wide receiver, what you have
bump him a little
essentially
bit.
done is
Yeah,
you create so much traffic right there. Because if you think of
facts.
this in terms of a numbers game, you're in the red zone. Let's say you're on the 3-yard line and you have your slot wide receiver running an out or a zig, which would get him a little bit in and then stemming back out. And then you have your outside guy just running an in or drag route, right? At the point where they're going to intersect, there's now 4 bodies within a 2-yard span because you have both your wide receivers intersecting each other and you have 2 defensive backs. And that's a lot of traffic in a concentrated area. So whoever comes out of that the cleanest, boom, you hit him. Probably
Yep.
it's going to be the guy on the zig or the out route, just given
Yes.
the traffic, because your guy running the drag or in route, he's running into linebackers. You know what I mean? So there's probably more bodies on that interior, but it's that exterior route that there's so much traffic. You're trying to stem someone free. And it is illegal. It
And
is.
remember this too. Facts, Ty. Remember this too. Just like Kareem said, some people call it a pick route, right?
Yeah.
Because I guess the best way to say it, the object of it is, it's kind of like basketball when you setting a pick.
Yeah,
Right? You
perfect,
setting a pick.
perfect cracker right here.
Yeah, okay. Something like basketball. It's kind of like setting a pick, and one receiver breaks free. It's just that's what it's designed for. But that receiver has to make it look like he's running a route. He just
Yes.
can't stand there. You know what I'm saying? He
You
got to
have
make
to
it like
sell
he
it.
running the route. Yeah. So it's sort of an illegal ass play if you want the truth, right? But the Patriots made a living doing this, man.
Hey,
You know what I'm
it
saying?
usually a receiver or a tight end. Sometimes they use it with a running back when they come
Fact.
in and turn around and run a curl route.
Mm-hmm.
Like goes in,
Fact.
boom, he runs a curl. But a lot of times they don't get turned around fast enough to even run the curl. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like boom, you get in and they start throwing their hands around, trying to make it seem like they trying to go
Run
out
a route.
for a play.
Yes.
But in the they never runs the rub route in the red zone unless they put someone in motion. Because once you put a
Facts.
guy in motion, you put him in motion and return him back to the original spot. They want to make sure you in zone or
man.
man to man.
Man. Yeah.
If they find out that you in man, boom, the road
Yep.
route coming.
Yeah.
Zone,
But if
you'll
they
get your
find out
ass
you in
picked
zone,
off.
Yes.
yeah,
Ask Travis Hunter.
zone, they won't try
Yes.
that. So they'll wait, and they'll put somebody in motion, and they boom, he ain't moving. So that route, they return that route, then they go back to original route. But if they put that guy in motion and the back carries with them, they gonna carry him on in the motion because now you are my picker. I'm gonna run you in the motion. I'm gonna send you up for the curl. Boom. Once you come up, make that curl, that other wide receiver gonna go out and gonna bounce right back behind you, which is gonna make the defensive back. Either he gotta go under or he gotta go over. And a lot of times they try to go over the pick, which makes you behind the route.
Yep.
And once
way behind.
You get behind the route, you're done. And if you go over the pick, if you go under the pick, then they're gonna throw it to the back portion of the end zone, which still is behind the route. So either way,
very effective against press. Yes.
Either way, it's a lose-lose situation when you're running the pick route. So that's why a lot of people do it. That's why Clemson always did it in the national championship game or in the ACC championship game. They ran all those rubs and all those picks because they knew for a fact that they had two guys that be wide open once the tight end set that pick. That Hunter Redford would get open. He'd be wide open because he was a quick route runner.
Yes, and we play man a lot. Yes.
Said in the chat. That's the main reason why right now Hunter Renfrow is a free agent because nobody in the NFL get away with rubbing those routes.
Well, and also
it is a flag, so they calling all those rub routes. You actually have to run a complete route, and then
complete route. It's a fact.
Yeah,
that's why some of these defensive backs are taught to trade off.
Yes, pass off. Mm-hmm.
You ride a trail, you run the curl, and then the next receiver has to be a yard or two behind you. They can't be directly rubbing up against you. They only do it in college. Now, you can rub the other receiver in college, but in the pros,
yes,
that's an unfair advantage. And I think they're gonna outlaw that in the pros in the college too, because that is an unfair advantage. You rubbing another wide receiver, which means the defender, if that defender touches that other receiver, it's a flag. That's pass in the field.
You essentially setting the pick. That's a fact.
Either way it go, if you touch that guy, it's a flag, and if you go under, go on top of it, it's a touchdown. So either way it go, it's just unfair. Remember I told you that, Coach Sean, that if I were Nick Saban, the way they done it to me in 3 championship games, I would have done it to Michigan.
Yeah, facts. Because
they beat them 3 times on road routes.
Yes, they did.
Why not do it to somebody else?
That's a whole fact, man.
I meant that. They were wholeheartedly. If somebody done that to me 3 times, I'm getting my revenge.
Yes.
I'm getting my
without a shadow of a doubt. Yes.
100%. 100%. And shout out Stephen G for putting me on this right here. Do want to give a little bit of breaking news. No commitments, but a major prediction inserted on the recruiting front. Gentlemen, this is a big one. This really is a big one. I've said this so many times, Coach Carl, I'm sure you've probably heard me say it, but for those of you that may be new to the channel, for those of you that haven't heard me say it, there's nothing I love in recruiting more than when bitter rivals are recruiting the same prospect. I mean, I love recruiting, period. But in those situations, Bama, Auburn, love it. Texas, OU, love it. Ohio State, Michigan, sign me up. USC, Notre Dame, I'm there, right? I love when these bitter rivals are battling it out for the same prospect. And a Texas insider, Joff, I don't really know how to say his name, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but a Texas insider on Rivals has just flipped his prediction from Texas to Oklahoma for 5-star offensive tackle Michael Fusi out of Louisville High School in Louisville, Texas, right down the road from where I am right now. Guys,
Jason,
this is a big one.
Jason said that weeks ago. Jason said, we're going to get Fusi.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a battle. It's been a great battle for this prospect. There were times where I think Oklahoma felt real good. There were times where Texas felt real good. But we're going down the stretch. I believe he commits on the 20th. When does he commit? Is it the 20th?
Fusi?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I feel like it's the 21st, August 21st. August 21st. I knew it was, it's right down the road. Now you have Texas insiders giving this win to Oklahoma. Coach Sean, I'm going to tell you first and foremost why I love this so much for Oklahoma, because he's talented as hell, right?
Yes.
Bill Bedenbaugh now going to get that 5-star offensive tackle. And listen, that's one of the things OU fans, I've never met an OU fan who questions Bill Bedenbaugh's coaching. I've met a few, not a lot, but there have been a few complain about his recruiting. My answer is always, it hasn't really mattered, has it? Like, he's still putting together some of the most consistent offensive line play year in, year out in college football. So the man knows what he's looking for. Let him cook, right? Like, he's got the ingredients. It may not be your favorite ingredients, but if you love the meal at the end of the day, damn the ingredients he buys from Walmart. You know what I mean? Like, if he's cooking a great meal, enjoy. Well, now he gets that 5-star. But Coach Sean, also selfishly, if I may slide this in here, I didn't think Ty Haywood was going to flip anyways, but I love now that Oklahoma's getting their 5-star tackle, and that Alabama, because that was the big competition for Alabama for Ty Haywood before he had committed. I know some people said Florida State. I always, and I could be wrong here, I always felt like Florida State was the long shot, as I guess Coach Carl has arrived at his destination, and whether that's home or what, hopefully he'll hop in here. So yeah, big win for Oklahoma, 5-star offensive tackle. They really wanted that win for this cycle. Any thoughts on the Michael Fusi win? Should he commit to Oklahoma? And that looks like where it's trending.
Shout out to King Cali. What's up, King Cali? I got
Shout
your
out
back
King
on
Cali.
that question, bro. And Antoine, my brother Antoine. Man, what's up, Twan? How you doing, bro? For me, man, I've always enjoyed Michael. I watched all these tackles and saw the differences in them all. I'm just the different guy. This doesn't make it true. I was always high on Fusi and Hayward, not so much on Sanders. I watched Sanders get dominated by a defensive guy at a camp. Dominate. I mean, just clean, knocked off the ball. That told me his lower body wasn't as strong as the other two guys. You know, very athletic guy, probably the most athletic, but definitely I'm not think he's ready to play right now. So for Fusi, I know Oklahoma's happy with that guy, multi-sport kid. If I remember, I think the kid threw the shot put and
Yeah, he did.
discus and grew up playing soccer. If I remember what I read about him, very, very strong lower body. See, I look at a tackle from the midsection down, right? Pause on that. But I like a tackle with a big, juicy ass. You know what I'm saying? I like
Another
them big
pause
ass
on that.
tackles. Right. Another pause on that, right? Lower body to me with a tackle is everything, right? I need to understand how strong you are getting out of your pass set. Can you hold up in the SEC against these defensive guys that are coming? Remember, when I was young, they put the best offensive player on offense. Now, Ty, what you laughing at, Ty? Nowadays, these guys are being put on defense, man. So you got to have guys that are thick, that understand pass set, that can move, that can be agile. And Fusi's one of them, man. This kid wouldn't shock me if he turned out to be one of the best, right? So if Oklahoma gets this kid, it is one hell of a win because this kid was pegged to Texas all along. This would be really a cool slap in the face to the Longhorns. And if Oklahoma can pull this off, you better believe it's going to be some gnashing of teeth in Austin. And I'm just happy we got ours. Shout out to Ty Haywood.
Yeah, 100%. And that's this makes me, and I never worried about Ty Haywood flipping, but I'm glad
Right.
Oklahoma got their 5-star tackle.
Yes.
Now that it's
yes.
like, okay, you've gotten him. Continue, and they have Ryan Foji as well. I really do hope that I pronounced his last name correctly. If I didn't, please correct me. If I'm wrong, it's not out of disrespect; it's out of ignorance, and I'm always up to learn. So if I Foje, maybe I think it might be Foje, but he's another one, guys, on the offensive line. That, goodness gracious, I remember when I covered his commitment. He was a 3-star, I believe, and now he is. Let me see where he's at now, but he has just flown up the rankings. Offensive tackle. He was a 3-star when I first covered his commitment to Oklahoma. He is now number 122 in the nation, number 11 offensive tackle, number 23 in Texas, and that is the 24/7 Sports composite. If we look at 24/7 Sports rankings themselves, number 89 in the nation, number 8 offensive tackle, and I accidentally clicked because I am bad at this, and number 15 in Texas. So that's that. They're stacking a. I did pronounce it perfect. They're stacking a nice offensive line class there in Norman. Love to see it. Big win. And for Texas, this is interesting because Texas, they're going to be just fine on the offensive line. Kyle Flood's one of those guys who, kind of like Bill Bedenbaugh, I always say, I'm gonna probably give Kyle Flood the benefit of the doubt. Right? I probably am. Yeah, they did try and they tried to get Bill Bedenbaugh in for an interview. I don't know if there was ever an offer, but there was they tried to get him in for an interview to see if he would even be interested. And he wasn't even interested in the interview. That guy's Oklahoma through and through. And I respect the hell out of that. I respect the hell out of that for Bill Bedenbaugh. And for Oklahoma fans, like that's awesome for y'all. You got a guy there that bleeds. No, and Steven, he didn't even take the interview, but they tried to interview him for a job to see if he'd be interested in the offer. He didn't even show up. He said, "No, I'm good where I'm at. Thank you for for even thinking of me, but I'm good here." I don't know that that's what he said. I'm paraphrasing. I'm cosplaying right now. Allow me to do so. But essentially, as I understand it, that's what happened there. Good for Oklahoma though, keeping that guy. But Kyle
Ty,
Flood's, go ahead, coach.
Oklahoma again. I give these guys a lot of credit, man, because I don't know if I'm sure PG and Jason and all these great Oklahoma guys know. Listen, man, you got to give credit where credit is due. When you look at what Venerable's coach Carl has done last season with his class, and this season coming in, they got a kid named Emmanuel Choice. I talked about him months and months ago, weeks and weeks ago. A wide receiver that's coming in. They got a kid named Emmanuel Choice that's going to be a dog. They got a defensive tackle, if I remember, Kamari Moore. He's coming in. I think he like 6'2", 295. He's only like a 3-star. Listen, man, it's one of those kids. Didn't camp a lot. Bama wanted him. You understand what I'm saying? Don't be fooled by the 3 little stars by his name. His name's Kamari Moore. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I remember, I watched him. Listen, bro. Listen. Coach Sean would never lie to you. He's a dog. He's a dog. Bama would take him today if they could get him. Kamari Moore, Emmanuel Choice coming into Oklahoma is going to be absolutely stars. Make sure you cut this and clip this so we can look back in a year or two and you'll see them 2 guys. They got another year short receiver. I think his name is Grayson Harris, I believe. Jitterbug. I'm talking about fast as lightning. He's the same type of cat as we have with Arian Hampton. Very similar cat. I think this dude only like 5'9", 5'10", if I remember. A speed demon. Speed demon, man. Oklahoma is doing some things, man, nice and quietly, but everybody gonna take note very damn soon. Trust me on that.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think they could? What's the numbers right now? Ranked 11th in the nation right now with 22. That might be tough just because I don't know how many you plan on taking, Bryce. I think you'll be top 10, no doubt about it. No doubt about that. Brent Venables has slept through top 10 recruiting classes since he got to Oklahoma. They got a big prediction for Michael Fusi, Demetrius, 5-star offensive tackle. And that's big for them because, and also Bama, if you're a Bama fan, because it was Bama or OU for Ty Haywood. They just got their 5-star offensive tackle. And I never thought Ty Haywood was going to flip, but you feel good, right? And the universe is healing. Feels good. But big prediction for them. Go ahead, coach.
But what you did say, Ty, was what? You said you wished for Oklahoma that Ty Haywood wasn't considering Alabama. Remember that? Because if he considered Alabama and Oklahoma, Alabama had an edge because of the damn prestige, right? For the recent prestige that Alabama was going through. So when you mentioned Ty Haywood But Alabama, you did say you just wish for Oklahoma that it wasn't Alabama. And the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing with Texas. I wish for Texas that it wasn't Oklahoma, because that kid, I don't think that kid gonna go to Texas. I think that kid going to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I agree. Whenever I put my objective hat on, right? Like, and sometimes in my recruiting videos, I speak from the perspective of if I was a fan for every team involved. And I did that, like you were referring to, Coach Carl, in that Ty Haywood video. And I was like, listen, if it wasn't for Bama being in this kid would be a boomer sooner. But Bama was his dream school. The scheme Bama is now running along this offensive line is so perfect for the offensive lineman Ty Haywood is. I mean, it fits so well. But this is that's why we're talking, which we talk everything over here, Demetrius. We just kind of go where the conversation takes us. Big time. But if Fusi commits to Oklahoma, big time win for them, and good for them, man. Good for them. Love to see it. If you're Texas, this sucks. But at the same time, you have Kyle Flood. I until I'm proven wrong, I'm gonna believe in Kyle Flood and his ability to put together an offensive line. Yeah. I think that is what it is, right?
I think the bigger part of going on with Texas right now, man, is that the recruiting pitches is all about money. I don't think their recruiting pitches about development. A lot of these kids that go other places wants to be developed, especially the kids coming out of Texas. They want the development over the money. Texas is not a place where a whole lot of folks and a whole lot of people are struggling financially. So some of these kids that wanted to get out of the state and want to go other places, they're not financially struggling. Their parents are making pretty good money, or don't need that money right up front. They care more about the education over the finances. And I think that these kids, man, they just want to go somewhere where they can just be groomed, where they can be trained, and then they can make enough money on the next level instead of trying to get it all on the front. Because they're going to make money no matter where they go. The money is coming. So it don't matter. Texas can offer you $30 million. They ain't no guarantee they're going to pay it. They can offer you the world. That they offer Isaiah Bond or Lamborghini. But did he get it? That was just a recruit tool that they put in front of him to get him to sign. He didn't get a Lambo. He took a picture with a Lambo, but they didn't.
Wasn't he one of the guys that were sponsored by? I think he ended up getting the NIL deal with Lamborghini of Austin.
Isaiah Bond, they didn't give him that Lamborghini. They just took the picture that he took with a Lamborghini. I think he said he got something. He got a car, but it wasn't a Lambo. He just got the money.
But okay, I thought here in like the last 2 weeks they announced that 2 Texas guys got the NIL deals with Lamborghini of Austin, and I thought Isaiah Bond was one of them.
Oh, so they actually gave him the Lambo?
Yeah, two of them did, and I think Bond was one of them.
So it took a long time to give it to him because I know he said he didn't get it. So I guess they finally gave it to him because he was complaining about it, or maybe he wasn't going to play without that Lambo.
Listen. College football is in a wild time right now. Give me a house, forget a car devaluation. Hey, you're 1,000% right, man. Honestly, that's you're on it. You're on it 100%. Guys, he got the SUV. Yeah. I thought he was the one. So let's talk about fall camps. Let's talk about some people turning heads. We'll start with Alabama. You know what? We were just talking about Oklahoma. We'll start with Oklahoma and then move in. Guys, I don't know if y'all heard, coming off of the weekend scrimmage for Oklahoma, there were some people who were like, hey, I'm kind of concerned about Jackson Arnold. He threw an interception. And I was like, okay, what were the weapons looking like? And they were like, oh, well, most of the wide receivers weren't fully active. And I was like, okay, was he going up against the first defense? Yeah, he was. And they were going full speed. I would much rather hear that my defense is pulling no punches on my quarterback as he's about to go through an SEC slate And Brent Venables knows what that looks like. Brent Venables modeled his defense after Saban's. He mirrored what he was doing at Clemson with what Saban did, learned from Saban, and then brought that to his philosophy. I would much rather hear that my defense is pulling no punches against my quarterback to make him ready. I was sitting here and I was like, I think this is a massive overreaction, right? But that's the beauty of where we are in the season. You're going to get a bunch of overreactions, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. And this is a bad one. Why my fan base is freaked out? 100%, Steven. Please do. Please do. But I also will say this. If we're talking new faces that are turning heads in these camps, I got two for y'all for Oklahoma. One, wide receiver Deion Burke. Guy's nasty. Right? Guy's nasty. There's just no two ways around this. Guy's disgusting. Like his route running, his speed. He's going to be a tough out for a lot of SEC defensive backs. And what makes him so tough, not only his ability, it's the ability of the wide receivers around him, right? Like they got a lot of stylistic differences in that room, which is going to make it a lot of fun to watch defense's game plan. But I'm going to tell y'all the kid that I'm really excited about. It's a kid that Nick Saban really wanted. It's a kid that I really wanted at Bama. Ended up going to Oklahoma. I'm not mad at it because he's being taught by Brent Venables. Not mad at it. That's Danny Okoye. Guys, you want to talk about someone who, Coach Sean, you were saying earlier, there are guys who fell through the cracks. This kid was homeschooled, right? So he's a little bit older, but dear Lord, he is the real deal once he gets this coaching. Danny Okoye, I'm hearing already showing I'm going to be tough to keep off the field. I'm excited for him because I think he has got so much potential. Yeah, he's a freak athlete, man. He really is. I think that I forget the radio show, but they do a great job. The backflips. This kid's like 245, 55 pounds, just doing backflips off scales and stuff. Just freak athlete. Coach Sean, talk to me about anything you've heard from speaking with Jason, speaking with these guys about Oklahoma fall camp and things that have stood out to you. Then we'll get into Alabama. I think you're on mute, Coach.
My fault. I hear the same grumblings about the quarterback throwing the pick and the offense, but you know how it is with these spring games. If the offense go out and look great, the defensive people mad. Right. If the defense go out and stop the offense, then the offensive people mad.
100%.
Right. And if both play well, then neither side did good enough.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, it's an overreaction. They'll be just fine, bro. They'll be just fine. When you a coach and Coach Carr can look at this, you don't even look at if they score. I want to know is the receivers attacking the top of the route. I want to know is the running backs attacking the hole with velocity. I want to know how the offensive line is blocking. I want to know what schematically, what the hell's going on as an offensive coach. Oklahoma's gonna be fine. Don't fans will do what fans do, and that's like you said, that's the beauty of it. They'll be fine, man. Oklahoma in the scrimmages will be fine. Watch the next scrimmage. You'll probably have it flipped the other way around. These guys will be just fine. As far as Oklahoma, as far as coming out of these scrimmages and what I'm hearing is I really enjoy what they're doing on defense. The attacking style defense that they have, the coverages they're playing. You can definitely tell that what he learned. What's the guy's name? What's the defensive back? How you pronounce his last name?
Which one?
The Oklahoma's DB coach, secondary coach, corner coach.
Jay Valai?
Valai.
Yeah, he was at Bama.
That's the guy. He was at Bama. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can definitely tell that the leverages that they run, you can definitely tell a lot of the schematics that they ran at Bama, they're implementing into their defense. So, anytime, man, and that's what coaching is, guys. Coaching is picking up things from other people, kind of putting your own twists on it, your own beliefs in it. That's what Kirby's done, right? That's what that's what Nick Saban did to Don James. I mean, that's what every coach does. What that's what Bill Belichick did to Bill Parcells. I mean, that's what coaching is, guys. It's learning from somebody else, taking what they did, implementing things that you like to do into your scheme and your team. And I think Oklahoma's did a great job of that. This season is going to be very interesting, man. Very interesting. This is probably the inaugural season for one of the most interesting college football seasons that we've had in recent memory. And I think everybody, honestly, everybody that I watch has done, even teams that you don't think is going to be very good. I think even these guys have done great jobs at preparing for the future, preparing for the 12-team playoff, preparing for the season, and Oklahoma's no different.
100%. Coach Carl, anything to add?
My thing is this, man. Texas and Oklahoma knew they was coming in the SEC years ago.
Facts.
They had been
Facts.
playing this for years. That's why they hired Brett Venables in the first place, because they were planning coming into the SEC. So once he got into Oklahoma, he started building his team around playing in the SEC. So don't think for one reason, for 1 minute, that Oklahoma team is not ready for the SEC. They've been preparing. That man been recruiting. He been teaching SEC techniques. You watched Oklahoma play Texas last year. Man, did you not see how physical that defense was? Don't worry about Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold is probably playing as one of the top defenses in the SEC right now. And if he's struggling right now, imagine when he gets out there and start playing against defenses that are not aggressive Oklahoma. It's going to be easy. Easy breezy. When he started facing defenses that are exactly like Oklahoma, yeah, he may struggle, but that's the whole idea of having a big physical offensive line. You can run the ball, your defenses start coming down here, and then you can open up the play action game. Jackson Arnold gonna be just fine. Man, I don't care what nobody says. If Oklahoma loses 4 games, it's gonna be shocking to me.
We've talked about that over here, Coach. They're our dark horse team in the SEC.
Yeah, I would be shocked. Because that team is coming. That team is scary. That coach knows how to beat SEC teams because he done beat Nick Saban twice. So I'm not concerned about Oklahoma. Not winning wise, offensive wise, defensive wise. I'm concerned about Oklahoma coming in SEC kicking ass. Because we said the same thing about Texas A&M and Missouri. So Texas A&M came in and kicked some ass for 2 years. Then Missouri made it to the SEC championship game twice. Within the first 5 years, they was in the SEC championship game. So everybody, they talking noise about these newcomers, but these newcomers ain't just your average newcomers. Like Ty said, these are blue blood newcomers.
Yeah,
I can see if it was Miami. Miami.
Yeah, it's different.
Miami is an old school blue blood back in the 80s with Michael Irvin and all them coming up. Yeah, that's different. But Miami now and Miami then is different. Oklahoma now and Oklahoma then is the same. Boomer Sooner ain't stopped. The wheels ain't fall off but one time. And that's what that was doing pregame when the wheels actually fell off the damn wagon. Other than that, the wheels don't fall off in Oklahoma. That's period. Man, I don't know what the concerns about, but the wheels ain't falling off Oklahoma. Shit, it's like that Brett Venables came in there and took them little skinny wheels off and put truck tires on them. Because that something is rolling. And it's gonna keep rolling unless the administrative people in there do something different. Nah, it'll be something within the system from behind the scene will deter Oklahoma from having success in the SEC. Other than that name, SEC, people going. Those people are going to show up. And the athlete that they get is never a 5-star, 4-star, high-rated 4-star because they identify all the damn 3-stars and 2-stars that all these big-time recruiting aspects don't pay attention to. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. How many 5-stars have you seen get drafted in the first round of the NFL? It's not many 5-stars that come out of high school with rated 5-star to get drafted in the first round. First round draft picks are usually those 3-stars because they the ones that didn't get the value of the 5-stars because they didn't do all the camping. They didn't do all the tripping. But once they get in college, you start seeing those 5-stars take back steps to some of these 2s and 3-stars. Ronnie Harrison was a 2.5-star.
What I will say, Coach, is in this last draft, the numbers are as a 5-star, you were 30% more likely to end up in the 2023 and 2024 first round than any other ranking. So there are more 3-stars in the first round, but that's because there's around 1,000 plus more 3-stars every given year than 5-stars, right? But in terms of statistical likelihood, you were 30 times more likely to be drafted in the first round of the NFL draft as a 5-star as opposed to a 4 or 3-star. Which is just insane to me.
You said likelihood.
Well, no, that's based off the data in 2023 and 2024. Like they were 30%. Yeah, I don't know. I'm bad at words. I struggle with words.
Yeah, but like I be watching, when I watch the draft, I don't watch the draft to see what 5-star get drafted. I look for the little small school kid to see where they get drafted at, because those are the ones that make the most impacts anyway.
Facts.
They're the ones that make the most impact. Those 5-stars, man. If it 32 5-star coming out of high school this year, and then all of them go pro, right? Every last one of them go in the NFL. They paying out to be great players, go inside the NFL. It don't matter to most NFL executives if they all was great, but if they got a kid that didn't have that big name on the shoulder, they're gonna take that kid. Like, you watch the draft, man. NFL executives picking, they come out of nowhere and draft the kid that was a 3rd-round draft pick by ratings. Like, where he come from? And then this big-time 5-star kid just keep dropping down, keep dropping. They never stop falling. And they be like, man, why he falling so far? Because NFL values the want and the drive more than they values the damn star rating. Give me a kid that damn want to fight every single day to get on the field, instead of giving me one of the prima donnas that already dang supposed to be on the field. I want that kid that willing to come in and work every single day, give me all that they got to fight to get on the field. And then the 5-star kid that comes in and think that everything's supposed to be given to him. I don't like those giving kids. The hell with somebody giving me something. I want to earn what I get. That's what's wrong with the world today. Is too many people with these handouts. Gimme. No, man, earn what you get. If you go out there and earn it, can't nobody take it from you. Nobody.
Love it.
If you go out there, you play like Patrick Mahomes, can't nobody say Patrick Mahomes came out of college, went to college, he was the best quarterback in the world coming in college. Nobody can say that. But right now, you see Patrick Mahomes, he go out there and he perform every Sunday, just like it's his last game. As does Jalen Hurts and other quarterbacks in the league. But the ones that came out there, those big-time 5-star kids, a lot of those 5-star kids don't pan out to be well in the NFL. That's all I'm saying. And a lot of them don't pan out to be that good in college neither.
Facts. I want to talk about this right here. Perfect Cracker says, talking about Auburn, Coach I, you'll appreciate, and shout out to Coach I from the Fan Addict Sports Network.
What up?
If you're not following them, quite frankly, I don't know what you're doing. As soon as we get out of here, be sure to go subscribe to everybody on the channel. That's how we all grow, ladies and gentlemen. It's having great football conversations and growing each other's channels. This is the part I don't understand about big media right now, is because the way they view competition, in my opinion, is all wrong, right? Like, I think college football content would be better if big media viewed competition totally different. Competition is what drives ingenuity, and we can all be better if we just come together as a group, help grow each other's channels, help spread college football, right? Like, we're going to have better conversations. So, Coach I, very happy you're here, but you're going to appreciate my answer on this. A Perfect Cracker is talking about Auburn. He says 12-10 home record in the last 3 years. We sure it's cursed? Very fair, Perfect Cracker. What I will say is it's damn sure cursed for Alabama and Georgia. and it's not even that they lose, but it's just it's way harder than it should be at Auburn Stadium. Guys, I got somebody at the door. Coach I, take over in terms of what you have to say. Coach Sean, chime in on this. I got someone at the door. I will be right back.
Right. So I agree with that. Perfect Cracker. You're right. 12-10. But it's some of the things that go into that. So when Auburn's not as good, and then you go to Jordan-Hare, then it's like, you know what I'm saying? Especially for a team that's good, you know what I'm saying? Like Auburn, for one, yes, Auburn and Alabama Alabama and Georgia are their rivals, but it's not just them either, man. Like, go again. I always say this. Okay, you can always look at when Alabama and Georgia go there. We don't always lose. Again, we don't. The record against Auburn and Georgia, like I think it's 17 of the last 20 we've beaten Auburn. So I'm not saying that we lose. But if you want a prime example, everybody holds 2019 LSU in this high esteem. Go watch the game against Auburn that year. It's like a 3-point game. Auburn, I didn't even know if Auburn played in the New Year's Six Bowl that year. So it's like when a team is expected to win and Auburn's not expected to do anything, that's kind of where it comes from. I bet 10 of those out of those 10 losses at home, 3 or 4 of those are out of conference too, like the New Mexico State, like Penn State, New Mexico State, Penn State, and at least 2 more out of conference. Clemson might be in that. Matter of fact, Clemson is in that. But when it comes to the SEC teams, it's like, you know, this year it may not be because people are expecting Auburn to be better. But when they not expected to do nothing, like it's just, and it's a loud place outside of LSU. I always put them second in the SEC as far as noise. Their fans act like they Alabama, but they not. It's just a hard place to play. That doesn't mean that your team necessarily lose. Like for instance, Oklahoma could go there this year and beat Auburn, but and I think they have a better team than Auburn. But that's what I'm talking about. They go there, beat Auburn, but it'll be like a 6-point game. And you like, well, how was this a 6-point game? Auburn's trash. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So,
they played Georgia very well. They played balance. Look, everybody was like, it's Hugh Freeze system. Look, bro, we went down there 2 years ago with John Mechie and Bryce Young. That wasn't Hugh Freeze. That was Husky Harsin, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and escaped in an overtime, bro.
It was
John Mechie. You know what I mean? Little rub rock, boom. You know, he in the end zone. You know, whatever the case may be.
Heisman winner, Bryce Young.
Yeah, Corey Brooks, late touchdown to even put us in that position. And a couple years before that, when Malzahn was there, we lost there with Jalen Hurts. We lost in Jordan, Hare. Right. So those are 3 different coaches.
Right. And then there's years when Bama just goes to Auburn and straight slaughters them. Like, last year we struggled at Auburn. But 4 years ago, we beat Auburn's brains in. And 2 years, the 2 years before that, we beat the brains in. 2017, they beat us and Alabama in the same year. That's the year Alabama and Georgia played in the national championship. They beat both of us at home. They had a good team nonetheless, but it was on the plains at Jordan-Hare. So that's why we kind of say, even the coaches say stuff like that. You talk to the SEC coaches, or listen to their press conferences. They know about going to, Stephen G, New Mexico State. Again, y'all missing the point. Y'all take statements and go to the extreme. We're not saying that you lose. For instance, I don't like playing Missouri. As a Georgia fan, I don't like playing Missouri. You know why? Because Missouri plays us tough. Guess how many times Missouri has beaten Georgia since they've been in the SEC? Once. We're literally 11-1 against Missouri, but they still play us tough. It shouldn't be though, but it is. I don't know what's going on with that. But
see, that's LSU for us. We've beaten them like 14 out of the 16 years, right? I think they've beaten Alabama twice, 2 or 3 times in the last 17, 15 years, whatever it is. But those games are dangerous as hell going to LSU to play.
Right. Just like going to Auburn is a dangerous game. It's like you can't just look at it like, hey, we're better than Auburn. We're going to beat Auburn, because it's just wild that way. Like if you said that with like, Oklahoma going to South Carolina or Bama going to South Carolina, I get that. But, but Auburn is just a little different. It's hard to explain until you experience it. And then you have a close game against a bad Auburn team. And you're like, why are we having a bad game against why are we having a close game against a bad Auburn team? So
what you think, Coach Carl?
Because Auburn and Georgia are the South deepest rivalry. Like, that's the oldest rivalry, man. Once you, I don't give a damn who you are, the SEC. If you pull up in that little small tight stadium down there in Auburn, you going in there to get your ass handed to you. But they gonna play their ass off in front of those rowdy ass people. They not laying down to anybody. The teams that go in there and beat Auburn are teams that Auburn overlook. Like those little small teams, they overlooked those teams. They came in there 3-point favorite to beat Penn State inside of Alabama, in the state of Alabama. And then Penn State mollyhop their asses. Because they go in their games thinking that they just automatically going to win. But the game that they come in there and they big-time underdogs, they finna give you their business. That stadium was rocking. That voodoo in their crowd, all that crazy stuff that happened in there with them be rolling them trees and throwing that shit paper on them. Man, listen, I don't know what they're doing in Auburn, but big games,
it be loud.
Big games, that shit works.
Right.
I think part of it is quickly.
Yeah.
Auburn Stadium is, if you look at where their sideline is and where their stands is, their stands are very close to the sideline. Tennessee's is not. Tennessee's is really far out. You know, Tennessee is loud as hell, but I think the way their stadium is built is not beneficial like Auburn's is. Auburn, you just right on top of it, like you right there. You know.
All right. So Stephen G, to answer your question, you said so is Auburn, Georgia a toss-up? For one, it's in Athens this year, and so that's the first part. It's in Athens. But when you say toss-up, if you're just talking a W or L, no, it's never a toss-up. But if you're talking in terms, I'm gonna give it to you in betting terms. If you're talking in Jordan-Hare and we're picked to win by 17, take Auburn in the points. That's all I'm gonna tell you, because we'll win the game, but we might not win by 17 because it's up in the air when we go to Jordan-Hare, because again it's a road, and Jordan-Hare
gonna get up for Georgia.
They're gonna get up for us. They're gonna get up for, and it's not just, people say it's just Alabama and Auburn. It's not just us. They get up for LSU too.
They get up for LSU.
When LSU is normally better than Auburn, they get up for LSU too. If they come in the game and they're favored, like Coach just said, they kind of just think, we're gonna come in here, we're gonna roll over you because we Auburn, we in the SEC, and then New Mexico State beats you. But they're never.
This, bro.
When's the last time Auburn was favored over Georgia, LSU, or Alabama? They haven't been.
Hadn't been, yeah. I've been in that dadgum stadium when they get to playing that. And I got that swag.
Right. They the ones started that.
I swag. When I they be rocking down there, bro. I'm telling you. Trust me.
Yeah, sir.
They get to rocking.
Right. And again, I think the teams going in there this year, whoever, like I said, just off the top of my head, I know Oklahoma has to go to Auburn. I actually think I picked Oklahoma to win the game. I think they're a better team, but don't be favored by too much. Auburn, it's almost like Auburn's going to take that as a sign of disrespect, and you may still win the game. But if it's like if you're picked to win by 10, you probably going to win by about 3. And then again, you say, well, hey, there was no mystery to the stadium, but you only won by 3 over a team that you were supposed to blow out. That type of deal. That's how the mystique of Auburn is.
Coach Carl, Chad is saying to be careful while driving.
Hey, I'm good, man. Hey,
Chad saying eyes on the road.
I am. I'm good. I promise you I'm good. I'm only riding 30 miles per hour, so I'm good. But Coach I'm telling you, let me tell you now. If Oklahoma favored by 10 points or less going into Auburn, they taking the L. I'm telling you. Favored by 14. If you ain't favored by 14, you taking the L going to Auburn. That's a different stadium, man. I was in that stadium, and I swear, it was just my luck that one of my friends are real close around Auburn, and we get these seats at these outstanding seats to watch Auburn play. We get Auburn in Georgia. We got Auburn, Alabama this year. We was in the end zone where Isaiah Bud cut that touchdown there, right?
Yeah.
The whole game, those fan base were giving us the business.
It's a fact.
The business.
That's a fact.
Only time we had something to say when Isaiah Bun caught that touchdown in his zone, and we just stood up, and the whole fan base, they dropped their head, they were crying. F you son of a, I hate you, get out here, I'll bust your head. They were so mad, and all we did was just stood up. I had my Alabama hat on, my Alabama sweater on. I was like, you got to see what you got to see now.
Yeah.
Usually we in the President's Suite, so you can't wear your
gear
stuff inside the President's Suite, So this time we were like, man, I don't want to go in the President's Suite. I'd rather be on the sideline. Let's go to the sideline. So we got the ticket for the sideline, and man, we actually enjoyed ourselves. That was Coach Saban's last Auburn game, which we didn't know. We didn't know that was gonna happen, but I get a chance to see it live in person.
Right. What a way to go
incredible.
out. What a way to go out with that play at the end of his last time visiting the Plains. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been in Jordan here a couple of times, brother, and similar seats, similar end zones, similar seats. I've been on when one of my nephews was getting recruited. Man, it Auburn is a different place, man. When especially if the team is doing well and the defense playing well, man, that crowd, it get pretty damn loud. But I still think, man, the loudest college stadium where everybody was just in a frenzy and it didn't stop. It was LSU. I don't know if I've ever been to I don't think I've ever been to another college game that was like that, man. Bro, when I tell you, it started in the tailgate. They were just the nicest people that morning. The nicest. I'm eating all these things that I can't pronounce, right? It was just wonderful,
put that
man.
voodoo on that food, Coach.
I was grubbing. I can't lie. I was grubbing. I'm about half lit by the time the game started. But when the game was over and Alabama won, oh, they was the most hateful people. Bro, they peed on our car, bro. They peed down the side of the car. Nice little pee line on the car. I told my cousin, take them damn Bama flags off the window. No, we fine. We come back, the flags was bent down. You know what I mean? The window was off track. They peed on the car. Listen, I told people before, it was a young kid. This kid couldn't have been no more than 12 or 13. I say 13. Selling food, man, like popcorn and all this other stuff, M&Ms. When he had a Bama button, like a little button you stick on your thing, he put on his hat. When I tell you they was throwing cups at him and empty wrappers and the little cardboard box popcorn, they was throwing trash at the kid, man. I said, you know what? These cases different. I don't care what nobody say. That LSU is a different place, man. Everybody, if you a Bama fan, that's the place. It's just different there. I'm telling you, it is.
LSU for me got the best overall game experience, especially if it's a night game. Like from tailgate, from the start to finish, you got tailgating, then you go in and it's a night game, and whether you talking trash or they talking trash, they playing neck, the band playing neck, the stadium swaying,
everybody's singing it.
Yeah, right, and you can't hear the person standing right next to you. The field got that little hump. The field got the little hump in the middle, so it's hard to see on the other side if you So if you go to the LSU game, don't get too low because you got those big linemen be standing on the sideline. You won't be able to see on the other side of the field because of the hump in the middle of the field. So
it's crazy, man.
Right, it's from top to bottom, man. I think as a college football fan, like LSU is it's crazy. Again, especially if it's a night game, it's just kind of unmatched.
Yeah.
There.
You know, we were going to talk about some camp reactions, but I think we've dawned on an interesting conversation here, guys. And this is for all those watching. This is one of the things we do on this channel. We might have, or I might put together a few topics, but this is always meant to feel like you're out at lunch with your friends, not scripted. I don't send people what we're talking about because I just want to talk like we're all a bunch of friends at lunch, right? I really want to talk about some bucket list games, right? Because we've gotten on this and some of the best environments you've seen. I'm going to give y'all one right now that I really want to go to. Penn State whiteout game.
Man, don't take my answer.
I'm so sorry. But that game, like there's that clip of when Michigan is in there and they're playing Mo Bamba and it's so loud that they get a penalty. Because they can't hear shit.
Right.
Like, they don't even know where they are. I gotta be there. I gotta be there. Coach I, I'll go to you next since I accidentally took yours. What's another game that you look at, you're like, that's a bucket list game?
So man, I'm going to tell you, even before they came to the SEC, the Red River. Like, bro,
that's my answer. That was mine.
Listen, man, the Red River, because Georgia, Florida does the split down the middle at the neutral site. They do the split down the middle. Plus, you got the State Fair. They absolutely hate each other, and even more so now that I'm doing YouTube, I see that they can't talk about football without talking about the other one. Where most rivalries don't even mention the other rival, but they can't even wake up in the morning without mentioning the other team. So that would be one. But I'm gonna tell you from experience, I'm gonna tell you one that y'all have to get to. a night game in Columbia, South Carolina with the Gamecocks. Good or bad, it does not matter. Like they went 0-11 back in 2000. They sold out every single game. And when you come out, they play that sandstorm. And then, they get the white towels waving, go USC, USC. And just if you can let go of the rivalries and the competition, like it's just an environment that you can't pass up on.
Oh, this doesn't have to be a rivalry, but I do agree with that. A little short story before I pass to Coach Sean. My uncle and his wife, they're season ticket holders. They live in South Carolina. They're season ticket holders to South Carolina, and especially the women's basketball program.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. They don't miss a second.
Man. Women's basketball, Columbia is like Duke basketball for men.
Thanks.
I'm telling you, dog.
Yeah.
Columbia fans, man, I've always said they're one of the most passionate fan bases because they don't need wins to be passionate. They just love the Gamecocks. That's just a lot of fan bases. If your team start losing, just know your stadium won't be sold out. A lot of fan bases, not all, but a lot of fan bases. Your team start losing, you out there. Not South Carolina. They're like, we showing up now. They might be gone by halftime if they getting blown out, but
they came.
They gonna rock with you and give you the benefit of the doubt every single game. You could get beat by 50 in one game. They gonna show up the next game as if it never happened. Delusional. Thanks. I'm telling you.
Bryce W saying is an Army vet. Army versus Navy is my number. That's a damn good answer too. And shout out for you being a veteran. Thank you for that. But that's a damn good answer.
I want to go to that game, but it just be too cold, bro.
You'll appreciate this one, Coach Sean. Sports Masochist says a Miami game, so I can catch a good nap.
Facts. I couldn't have said it better. I mean, it's gonna be plenty space to lay down and get your pillow, blanket. For me though, man. For me, I'm with Coach I. I played at the HBCU. I played my college ball 4 years at the HBCU right here in Alabama A&M University in Huntsville. And we played Bama State in what's called a Magic City Classic in Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And if you know, it's split down the middle. We on one side, they on another. And it's really, really a lot of things leading up to the Classic. A lot of, events, band competitions, step competitions, a lot of different things. So that split down the middle for me is really big, bring back memories. I really wanted to, I have, but that game was for me, was really, 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 really awesome. But I'll go off script. For me, I wouldn't mind going to see Clemson going to Virginia Tech. And when they play that Enter the Sandman, coming out that long walk they take, that marathon walk they take. But hey, if it works for you, it's cool. But when they play that Enter the Sandman and that they jumping around and going crazy in the stands, I wouldn't mind seeing Clemson go in there on November 9th, I think.
Damn, that's a good answer.
And that's going to be, like, on top of that entrance, it's going to be a good game because Virginia Tech is better than a lot of people know about this year. They bring a lot of people back on both sides of the ball.
They're going to play Clemson, facts.
Right. And that Enter the Sandman, it be rocking, too. It don't matter what time. It could be 12 o'clock noon or it could be 8 o'clock at night. That Enter the Sandman going to be rocking.
That's a damn good answer. Stephen G says, I want to go see the Iron Bowl. Yeah, don't get me wrong. That's definitely a bucket list game for me as well. Having gotten to the Iron Bowl, I've seen Bama at home and Bryant Denny. Definitely got to get to the Iron Bowl. Coach Carl, what about for you, man?
Mine actually was Auburn and Georgia. But I actually got a chance to see Auburn and Georgia play a couple years ago when Georgia won the national championship in Auburn when Auburn had their asses beat. And then gave a game to them in the fourth quarter. Oh my Lord, I was so mad about that game. But sorry, but yeah, that was my game. The only other one I want to see that I just can't find the time to go see, Florida State, Miami. Like I want to see that game so bad because that is some of the most heated rivalry stuff you want to see. They usually break out in fights. Like, that's the game I want to see. A good Miami and a good Florida State go at it. That's gonna be a fight game. Like they're gonna be on the sideline fighting. They're gonna be fighting before the game. They're gonna be fighting at timeouts. Like those games, man. Lord, I just want to see it because a lot of those kids come from the same neighborhood, some of those kids come out of Miami, they're beefing against the other kids from across the street. Then they go to Florida State, and now they playing against each other. Then they get a chance to get at each other. Well, I ain't like you anyway. Well, you a traitor. You know, you from the neighborhood, you one of the, you a traitor. So now it's just a battle, man. That's the game I want to see. I really want to see it. I thought about the Red River rivalry, but that ain't as passionate as that Florida State Miami, because that's hate. Ain't no love in that game. That's mostly all hate. Sometimes the kids leave when they lose the game. They walk off the field without even shaking hands. Most of the kids are just walk off.
Right.
I want to see that game. That's the game I want to see in person. I'd rather see it in Tallahassee, because the crowd in Tallahassee be rocking.
I was about to say, yeah, and plus Miami Stadium ain't even on campus, dog, and it's like 45-minute drive. It's not even technically their stadium, you know what I'm saying? So, but you're right. That's a good topic, Ty, because I'm telling you, man, I'm a college football fan, and all this college realignment got me looking forward to all of these games, you know what I'm saying, and all the conferences, like, you know, like just getting to see these different matches. These are matches we be wanting to see before these, you know, this realignment and stuff. Now we get to see these like you get to see Texas, Alabama like last year. You get to see Texas, Ole Miss. You know, you get to see the Oklahoma, LSU at the end of the season, Oregon and Ohio State on a regular basis. Give me that all day. Come on, man. I'm amped for this season. Not even just to watch Georgia, it's just to watch college football.
100%, 100%. And we've put this topic till the very end, so we're going to quickly go through this because I think most of us have already talked about this. We were supposed to lead off with Alabama football camp reactions, and as we typically do, we go where chat and the conversation takes us, and it took us till the very end. Guys, I'm very encouraged to hear LT Overton getting back to his natural position, putting on more good body weight, really starting to stand out. Alabama's going to need that. They're going to need that strong defensive front, especially replacing so many guys in the secondary. I don't have to tell y'all, that can alleviate a lot of pressure off of a young secondary and really allow them to grow. I think the other thing that I'm super interested in is hearing Ryan Williams. Now, I made a video about this yesterday, guys. I don't know if y'all have gotten to check it out, but I was saying I'm not sitting here saying Ryan Williams is going to be Alabama's leading wide receiver. He's very young. He's very gifted, but very, very young. You got Law, you got Prentice, you got Jeremy Bernard. I really wish Jalen Hale was still healthy because I thought he was going to go off this year if he was healthy. But just hearing a guy that young turning heads at this level, that's got to be encouraging and something I love to hear. Coach Sean, I know you're about to dip out, so I want to give you a chance to quickly talk about some things that you're going to be excited about, that you've heard about before you have to hop out of here.
I think LT Overton is going to force his way onto the field. From what I'm hearing, he's been extremely consistent in practice. The kid has gained 20-something pounds. He's back up to where he was at before Texas A&M, about 285. For some odd reason, they tried to stand him up, and I don't know what the hell's going on there. But hey, the kid's hand is back in the dirt. He's doing what he does best, coming off the edge, playing with great leverage, great lower body. Very, very strong against the run, even better against the run than I thought. Kid that can provide some pass rush presence and presence against the run. So I'm eagerly anticipating that kid to play well. Just like Ty said earlier, he's really pushing Ja Moran to bring it. To have both of those kids is absolutely outstanding for Alabama. Ryan Williams on that side, knew this kid, did a video about him a year and a half ago on another channel. Saw this kid personally in the state championship, man. Listen, I talk all the time. You guys can go back to a multitude of videos where I talk about receivers and coach, attacking the top of the route. I told a story about taking a simple dig, right? Releasing really, really hard. When you release to your route and break down into your route, you got to attack the next part of the route, the top of the route, just as much as you did on the release. You can't get lazy on the end of the dig, right? That means your quarterback got to throw you open. No, you got to set the defensive back up when you attack the top of the route. Where's the defense? Where's the safety at? Is he right here? Is he back of you? Is he front of you? Is he on side of you? That's what made Devontae Smith so great, right? This kid attacked the top of the route. Facts like no other. Ryan Williams has that ability. And I'm going to tell you something, man. And this is no disrespect to Kobe or Ty Law or Jeremy Bernard, who I know will start. Ryan Williams is going to push these guys for playing time. He's making plays in practice. The veterans are having a tough time checking this kid, as I told you they would. Ryan will play. So I'm utterly pleased. Not necessarily about the play of Ryan, but about the I guess I could call it the execution of the scheme with Ryan in it, is the best way I can say it. This scheme supports what he does best, and I'm happy about it. I couldn't be more, and I'm more happy. No, I'm not gonna wood before I say this. No major injuries to date.
That's always key.
But
Always
listen,
key.
Coach Carl, my brother Ty, about to go to Bryant Dental, get these old choppers nice and white, old clean going on right now. So I love you guys to death. Much love to everybody in the chat. Much love to all the content creators who support this. Jason, Coach Coach Carl, Jance, Coach Smook, my brother Jake Mirror, wherever you at, man. Love you to death, man. We miss you dearly. Everybody, man. Much love to you all. And Ty, thank you, as you always are the ring leader, man, for putting this together. Love you to death, man. Shout out to RJ, wherever you at, RJ. We miss you too, homie. And I will tap back in with you guys, man. The truth is in the details. JMHO Sports Talk, please tap in. Ty, I'll get with you a little later, man. I'll holler at you. Got to make this 12 o'clock appointment round the corner for a minute, man.
Sounds good, Coach. Thank you for
All right,
joining
Coach.
in on the Friday session as always.
Appreciate you, man.
Coach Carl, I want to hear from you about Alabama, anything that's coming, just standing out to you. And then Coach if you want to talk about what you've heard about Alabama fall camp, I'd love to hear it. But I'm interested in getting the Georgia perspective, what y'all are having in fall camp right now. Because Kirby made some interesting comments yesterday that I think I want to know, are they being overblown? I think a little bit. I think that he's speaking to college football as a whole with the inception of NIL becoming rampant and how talent is now being more spread. I think people are kind of reading into it a little bit too much, but I'd love to have a Georgia fan perspective. Coach Carl, though, want to start with you on Alabama fall camp reactions. What are you thinking?
Hey, man, I'm kind of like everybody else, man. LT Overton, man. I am so excited about LT Overton. This kid back at his original weight. What Caleb DeBoer said, well, not Caleb DeBoer, Kay Woolman said, he's a 280-pound ass kicker. Like, you're a 280-pound ass kicker, man. That's nothing more you can say about a kid. But me, honestly, I'm excited about the way I've been hearing the defense actually been playing. Like, the defense, they give up a few plays, but they actually been way ahead of the curve in the offense, man. It's like that defense is flying to the ball. The defense is moving, man. And then a lot of young guys are pushing for starting position. So that's more exciting to me because, the last few years, we didn't have backups that can actually come in the game and contribute and make big plays. Our freshmen didn't get a whole lot of playing time. And even in the national championship a few years ago against Georgia, when players started going out, our freshmen wasn't ready to play. And I'm so excited now that these freshmen are actually getting opportunity to play on offense and defense just in case, man, something catastrophic happen, injury do occur. Now we got kids that actually out here playing productively, getting great snaps, getting first team reps, and then they can come in the game and they're not lost or they're not just being thrown in the fire and have to play at the last minute. So that's one of the most important things to me as a coach. Young guys being prepared to play in case of emergency. And what this staff is doing is they are developing these young kids early, like a 17-year-old kid, Ryan Williams, out here getting first team reps. So, I can't be more ecstatic, man. That's one of the things that was one of my biggest issues with Coach Saban. When he had Kirby on staff, he didn't have a problem with playing these kids young. He'll play all the young kids that he could because he was building the depth and he was getting no reps in. When Kirby left, he got Jeremy Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt would play. After Jeremy Pruitt, man, it's like the young kids kind of like died out in Alabama. A lot of those freshmen never seen the field unless you was elite talent on offense wise. Like Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith came in their freshman year and took over college football. But that was on the damn Lane Kiffin. And they did
that's a good point, Coach. I never thought about it like that.
On offense, but on defense, they wasn't playing a whole lot of young kids. So I'm very happy that now Caleb DeBoer and his staff are getting all these young kids reps, man. They constantly getting reps and they're making names for themselves and they're making waves. because those young kids are our future. Now, I know we got the transfer, we got these seniors, but, man, what if Malachi Moore goes out here and stink up the joint? We know he probably won't, but what if he does? And you don't have a guy behind him that you've been preparing all summer long. Now these guys are prepared, and if Malachi goes out here and stink up the joint, or Malachi get a turf toe, we got kids that are ready to jump in and play. So that's the best part about me, man. I love it. I really, really love it. And I wish that this had been happening for the last 6-7 years, because if Coach Saban have been playing these young guys for the last 5-6 years, man, I think we probably won at least two or three more championships. Because some of the games we lost in the championship game because we didn't have the depth. And he didn't trust nobody to put in the game to replace some of the slower safety that he had in the game. So now we're building record, we're building depth, and I love it, man. I promise you. I'm so excited about Alabama this year. If we lose 1 or 2 games, I'm still going to be happy, because next year ain't nobody going to be able to play with them. So
that's a real good point, Coach. I never thought about, the past couple of years, how the only freshmen that played were the ones that started, really. You know what I'm saying? The ones that came in ready to play. And then if you look at, the games that they lost or played close, I'm just while you was talking, I said the thing, I'm like, that is right. You know what I'm saying? Somebody went down. Y'all didn't really have nobody ready, but before, y'all always had somebody ready. That's a good take right there.
And I wonder if on defense it has something to do with Golding, because I actually, Coach, I don't know if I've ever told you this. My roommate, back before my wife moved in, and now it's our place, but I had 2 roommates. Both of them played college football. One of them played at UTSA, was a cornerback for Pete Golding when Pete Golding was at UTSA. And he always told me at Bama, he's like, hey, man, Golding, he liked him. But he's like, he's ahead of his time. His defense is so complex and so theoretical that I always wondered if part of the reason you saw less young guys play was just because it was so complicated. And T-Rob already spoke about this, Coach I and Coach Carl, that one of the things that he loves that Kirby has done, and Kirby has done a great job of this, is taking a lot of what Saban does and simplifying it to allow his guys to play faster and a bit more natural, if I could say that. I think with Golding, it was already taking basically calculus and adding on advanced theoretical physics on top of calculus, right? You just made
multivariable calculus or differential calculus, right?
Yeah, you just made it so much more difficult, and then that paved the way where it was only the veteran guys that had been in there for a while. I don't know. That's just something I've thought about.
I could see that. I think that's kind of akin to what Todd Grantham does. I think Todd Grantham, who all Georgia fans know, when he was at Georgia, his defenses were really complex, and I don't think we had a lot of depth per se, because maybe they couldn't learn the defense as fast as they needed to get up to speed. So that kind of caused us some issues down the line, because when you don't have that depth that's ready, not just talent, but that's ready with the defensive calls and things of that nature, you have to play people a lot more snaps than you need to. And towards the end of the season, they can get kind of burnt out, and now you're giving up plays that you normally wouldn't be giving up, because that linebacker done played, 60, 70 snaps, and 10 or 20 of them, he could have been resting if somebody behind him could have been in a rotation or something like that. So I definitely think that's good, man. On the Georgia front, I know everybody heard Kirby say this is the least depth we done ever had, but I'm going to tell you this, before you go analyzing that statement, go back in fall camp last year and see his answer when somebody said, "Are we good?" He's like, "Oh, we need depth. We need depth. We need depth." Kirby's definition of depth is a lot different than a lot of people's definition of depth.
That's probably 100% true.
Right. So, for instance, you got Jamon Dumas-Johnson, former Butkus Award finalist, starting at middle linebacker. He goes down with 4 games left in the season. CJ Allen comes in, gets to start 4 games, starts in the bowl game, starts in the SEC championship. Kirby doesn't necessarily call that depth, because he only started 4 to 5 games. So while fan, we look at it and say, well, CJ Allen's the next one, which he probably is. That's not depth for Kirby. You know what I'm saying? Raylan Wilson, while good, and he showed flashes last year, he played in a good 10 to 15 snaps a game. That's not, Kirby doesn't call that depth. if you're too deep, if you don't have like literally guys that have played 30% of the snaps each game and you're too deep, then Kirby's gonna say we ain't deep. You know what I'm saying? For instance, with the secondary, we got Malachi coming back. Everybody knows about Malachi. We got on the other side, we got that's at safety. Then we got Dalen Everett at corner. Dalen Everett was started all year. Now on the other side, Julian Humphrey played a lot last year as far as in the game, snaps and stuff. But he ain't never started the game and he ain't never played majority of the snaps. So if you ask him, he won't tell you what spots, but if he asks you where he says we're not deep, he'll say corner. But yet we'll trot out 3 to 4 guys during the year. So I think you got to look at it how Kirby looks at it when you say not deep. And then again, he's thinking about injury wise. I mean, I'm like Coach Sean, man. Fortunately, we haven't had any, major injuries. We got some bang ups. I think our running back, Rob Robinson's got like a toe injury or something like that. Jordan Hall, expected defensive line contributor. He's out for fall camp, but they say he'll be ready for Clemson. So when Kirby looks at it, he's like, oh, if he's ready for Clemson, but he can't be in fall camp, then we ain't got no depth, dog. Like I don't even count him. Like if you ain't ready today, Kirby don't count you. You know what I'm saying?
Kirby's an old school cat in a new school environment, though. And I don't mean old school cat as in like locked into that old school mindset. I mean, he is, in my opinion, one of the last of those coaches that he's perfectly fine in the new school environment, but he's got that old school different mindset. It's a different mindset. And I think that's a big reason as to why he's been so successful as a defensive coordinator, as a head coach, right? And Coach, I'm interested in hearing your take on this. And maybe I'm reading too much into this, right? And please, by all means, I always say, if I'm wrong, I would much rather someone like on the panel be like, you're wrong. That way the correct information can be put out there. I also honestly looked at that too, like a motivating factor, because he comes from the Nick Saban tree. And it's like, I think he's just talking shit to motivate his team to be like, oh, you think this? Okay.
Listen, all season. Like, matter of fact, I think was someone on my own 3 or somebody was like, Georgia's the most boring team right now because nothing's being talked about because everybody's assuming they're the number 1 team. They got the roster and all this. And guess who's heard that all season? All his players. Listen, if you hear him say anything good, now he'll tell some players they've been playing good or whatever. Like he's talked great about KJ Bolden, as far as getting reps. He's kind of what we thought he was at the number 1 safety coming out. But as a team,
kid's a monster.
Right. As a team wise, Kirby, I'm gonna tell you right here, it's gonna take a close game, like for Kirby to start saying anything good team wise, because all he knows is his players have heard how good they are all offseason. Rat poison, as Nick Saban would say. They're hurt. I mean, what bad thing other than the off the field stuff with the driving and stuff have the players heard? Nothing. They haven't heard anything. We're supposed to go 12-0. We're the overwhelming favorites. So Kirby's gonna say, yeah, overwhelming favorite. We ain't got no depth. No, we need to tighten up at wide receiver. We need to, he's gonna say that a lot. And I'm not saying that some of these things aren't somewhat true on a level. Again, his depth is not your depth. Trust me. Like I was on Jason's show earlier, and the fan was like, he was talking about his team. He said, we're 13 deep at the O-line. I said, not a team in America is 13 deep at the O-line. I was like, no, that's not even possible. You know what I'm saying? So
there are NFL teams that aren't even close to 13 deep on the offensive line.
I say everybody's got at least 15 offensive linemen on the roster. I was like, but 13 deep. I said Georgia, one of the better offensive lines in the country. They're not even 13 deep. Because again, some of those high school guys coming out, regardless of the position, we can prognosticate on what we think they're going to be. But until they do it when the bullets start flying on Saturday, then it's just that prognostication. So I don't think we can read too much into it, but I think you're right, Ty. I think it's some of that, let's keep this ego in check type thing. Because if not, and Alabama fans know this, and the program knows this, like when you win so much, you have to find ways to keep your players in check. I try to tell people going into last year, I didn't think we were going to win the national title, but I thought we was going to make the playoffs last year.
You did
But
say that. I remember that.
Right, but because I was like, you got to think, man, juniors on last year's team going into the season as juniors, true juniors, they didn't even know what it was to lose. Like they literally lost one game, but they won 2 championships. So what do you tell the rising junior that has 2 championships in his first 2 seasons of college football? Like that, you talk about keeping the ego in check. Like talk about a hard coaching job. I know people look at it like, oh, he has all the 4 and 5 stars. With teams like the Bamas, the Ohio States, the Georgias, and Clemson even dabbled back in the day, it's like you try to keep that ego in check when you win, all as much as you win. Like again, haven't lost the SEC regular season game since 2020. Like, come on, bro. Like you gotta keep those in check, because even if you have a close game, you know what I'm saying, that really doesn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Kirby's motto is, you're only 1 week away. You're only 1 week away from humility. Anybody can bring you back down to earth. So I think he's trying to get out in front of it and, check some of his players. Like, I know y'all on these watch lists. They picked us to win the SEC and the Natty, but we ain't as deep as y'all think we is.
I just laughed when I heard Kirby say that. And I was like, I mean, sure, maybe it's not 2021 depth, but
Right.
like you still have one of the most ridiculous rosters in the nation. I was like, in my mind, the first thing I thought is, even more than reading into the truth of what he said, I was like, I guarantee this isn't even a comment for us. Quite frankly, this isn't for us. It's made to us because Kirby Smart realizes that the media is both the sword and the shield.
Right.
He can use it. Like Saban. A lot of Saban's messages, and by extension, this Kirby message, as my camera has decided to give y'all not so flattering. Earlier, I had a real handsome one. That one's not good. Kirby is realizing I can say something to the media that's not for the media. It's for my team. I'm just using the media to get it out there so that it's everywhere, right? Cover this.
Right.
But it's not for On 3. It's not for Around the Table Sports 24/7. It's for Georgia. And when he said that, I just giggled because I was like, you're not slick, Kirby. I'm on to you. I know exactly what's happening here. Steven, the rumors are true. That's how you know they're in bad shape. No, in all seriousness, I do hope and pray that's awful what's happened at Texas for their running back room. Baxter going down, then a torn Achilles. Prayers out to both of those young men. Hopefully they have a speedy recovery, especially Baxter is one I have no doubt he'll be back as soon as can be, ready to go. But that torn Achilles, Coach, I don't think I need to go into how damaging of an injury that is.
Listen, people undervalue that. They underestimate that Achilles, man. That Achilles is right there with ACL. I'm telling you, if it's a serious Achilles, then it's right there with ACL, man. So.
Yeah, hopefully he gets a healthy, speedy recovery to that. Certainly thoughts and prayers with them. I never want to see that, right? My goal is if I had it my way, obviously I'm a Bama fan. Bama would win the national championship, but everybody they played would play well enough in every other game to reach their draft goals and be healthy enough to be ready to go in the NFL. And for all that, that's always my mantra here.
Right.
There was something else I saw someone said that I wanted to where was this? George, if they lose to I think that a lot of people understand that's a schematic dream matchup, right, Coach? Like DeBoer versus Kirby. That, to me, I can't name you 3 other games I'm more excited about, not even from a Bama fan perspective. I'll give you guys have 2 games that, in my opinion, are among the top of all interest in college football. If you love schematics and great schematic matchups, Georgia versus Sark. Oh, come on now. That's going to be so much fun. And then Georgia versus DeBoer, right? Kirby versus DeBoer, Kirby versus Sark. The schematic excitement in those matchups, in my opinion, is off the charts. Super excited about both of them. That's chess. Like those are games where it's going to be chess on a football field. Going to be a beautiful matchup.
Right. I think the comment said that Georgia fans are gonna freak out or something like that if we lose to DeBoer. I don't think so. I mean, maybe the local Georgia fan at your job, maybe. I don't know. I don't think majority of Georgia fans will because for one, it's in Tuscaloosa at night. Like, who wins in Tuscaloosa at night? I mean, I don't
90%
care.
of the time, yeah, it's
You know what I'm
tough
saying?
place.
From the real fans from Georgia, the interest is to see how Kirby coaches versus DeBoer at Alabama as opposed to coaching against Nick at Alabama. And everybody knows Nick Saban was his mentor. Sometimes when you're going against your mentor, you could try too hard or you get in that little tight situation. You're like, God, I gotta one up my mentor. So it's like you do things that normally you wouldn't do or you try to do too much or something. So I'm interested to see how he coaches against DeBoer at Alabama, not just, coaching against Saban at Alabama, but again, going to Tuscaloosa, yeah, I don't know if we. That's one of the. I got 3 games as toss ups for us, and all 3 of the ones on the road. I think we got a good chance to beat Alabama, but that doesn't matter. I mean, we had a good chance to beat Alabama last year, but Jalen Milroe decided on a couple of third downs that he was just gonna do,
Jalen Milroe things,
Jalen Milroe things, and we lose by 3. So it's like, that's what I'm interested to see. So I think it's going to be a heck of a matchup. The offensive mind of Kalen DeBoer versus the defensive staff of Kirby Smart. So, I'm glad we did get to take Travaris Robinson from you guys. Heck of a safety coach. Love that.
Too soon, coach. Too soon. Too soon.
I mean,
that's a great hire.
Right. I wish we could have got doubled down and got Caleb Downs, but we missed out on that one. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. So, it's gonna be an interesting matchup because Alabama's supposed to have one of the best offensive lines in the nation, and Georgia's supposed to have one of the better defensive lines, and then you flip flop. Georgia's supposed to have one of the best offensive lines.
I have y'all as a Joe Moore Award potential offensive line.
Right. So, and then you got that front for Bama. It'll be interesting to see if that front for Bama can cause pressure for Carson to not expose the inexperience of that talent in the back end for Alabama. That's where I think the game is going to be won or lost, for Bama. If they can't get pressure consistently on Carson, then I think that secondary is going to have a long day. But if they can get pressure on Carson, that'll help that secondary out a lot. And I feel better as a Georgia fan that we get y'all game 4 instead of game 8, 9, or 10. Like, I feel like last year, if we had got y'all game 4, we probably would have won. But then, Milroe, Nick Saban, and the OC kind of figured something out after the South Florida game, and he just got better as the season went on. You know what I'm saying? So I think the timing of the game matters. You know what I'm saying? It's like, again, we get y'all early in the season. I hate it for the guys that's gonna have to play y'all, late in the season too.
I think that's completely fair, especially with so much new around Alabama. Mm-hmm. I completely 1,000% agree with that take. If I was a Georgia fan, I'd be like, listen, I'm very happy it's in the front half of the schedule as opposed to the back half. Once y'all get into the real war zone, bullets start flying, and now all of a sudden, we learned how to do this on the fly. That in game 10, that's going to be tough. So I do agree with that, right? And my camera, again, not doing me any favors. That was unfortunate.
One of the best rivalries in college sports is tying his camera.
And it really has been shaping up to be an S-tier rivalry. I need to do a tier list, and that might just supersede the Iron Bowl and the Red River rivalry is me versus the camera. Southern says Caleb Downs is going to have regress. I hope not. Just because, it's a big move. I hope that he, does well up there. Except if they play Bama, I'd like him to drop a coverage to allow Bama to win, obviously. But outside of that, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Bama did good in terms of what they got, right? They did as good as they could have in the portal, trying to replace Downs with Sab, with King Mac, with Cam Howard. You did as good as you could.
Right. I think to that point, I think people see the name and say Downs is the biggest loss on that secondary, but I don't think so. But with getting Saab, I think that's a good replacement. He's not Downs by any means, but he's a good filler. You're going to miss Amos. Amos is a man-to-man cover corner. I think
I agree, actually.
I'm telling you, like he only played a little bit last year, but he showed me enough in the SEC championship that he can do it down after down after down. Once Kool-Aid kind of went down with an injury and then had to come back into the game, but while he was out, Amos held it down.
He did.
I think he's gonna be missed more than Caleb in that back end.
Well, I can just speak to right now. If you had a situation where one side was Damani Jackson, the other side was Amos, and then you had a guy like Zabian Brown really showing like, hey, put me in, I'm ready. I'm young, but I'm ready. I feel like I would be. I'm already bullish on Alabama being good, but I would have. If you get Damani Jackson and Amos, I'm gonna be a problem talking about this secondary because I'm gonna be like, hey, I think that Bama just got something.
Right.
I agree. I agree. And Lance, Devontae Smith plays a different position. Amos is a straight corner.
Right.
Devontae Smith is going to play Husky Rover, right? One of those. He's gonna be one of those.
I agree with Keith Holcomb. He says Dowd's generational talent. I agree, but he's like, this is what I do because somebody, was like telling me on Twitter I couldn't compare starts and downs. This is the difference. Downs is the traditional safety that you like. The guy that's going to fill in the box, run game support. Like if he hits you, you ain't getting no more yards. Whereas Starks is more of the new age safety where he's more in coverage and he can tackle. He ain't gonna miss no tackle, but he ain't gonna knock you back. So when I say secondary, I mean if you go back and watch the Texas game, who did they pick on? They picked on Downs. You know what I'm saying? Like because he can cover, but he ain't like his cover skills won't be missed. His run game skills, that's gonna be missed. But when you're talking about coverage in that back end, again, I mean it was a short experience, but I saw what I needed to from Amos. Like, and you gotta, at least under Saban, I don't know what Womack's gonna do. You had to be able to play man to man. If you can't play man to man in some of these elite games, you can't sit back in zone. These quarterbacks are way too good to sit back in zone. So you're gonna need some guys that can go be on the island sometimes. So,
100%, 100%, gentlemen. We have been going for 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Yeah, it's time for me to get the car pickup line for elementary school for my grandbabies.
Okay, yeah, there you go. My wife is a first grade teacher, so I hear all about the car pickup line drama.
You got to get there like an hour early just to be like in the top 50.
I'm gonna tell you this right here. Y'all want some drama? They need to film a show about the car pickup lines at these elementary schools. Real Housewives ain't got shit on what goes down there. But I'm gonna let it go straight down. Let these gentlemen let you know where you can find all their great content. Coach Carl, I'll start with you. Where can the people find all your content?
Right now, I haven't been creating because we're so far and so deep into the season right now. So our first game is next Friday. So I've been basically doing a whole lot of practicing, man, training. So I have been doing a whole lot of content creating right now. But I did drop a few videos earlier, man. That's on the Block Sport Talk on YouTube. And then you can hit me up on Twitter, man. We can conversate on Twitter at Coach KD Taylor on Twitter. So I'm Coach KD Taylor on Twitter, and it's on the Block Sport Talk on YouTube.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for joining me this morning. Almost said afternoon. That's how you know it's – well, really, it has turned from morning to afternoon. So thank you for joining me on both. Coach where can the people find all your great content?
Cool. I just subscribed to you, man, on the Block Sports Talk. I just subscribed, by the way. Fanatic Sports, y'all know, like it says below my name, Fanatic Sports. We do all the college football. I'm a Georgia fan. We have one Georgia show, but 90% of the content is all the college football. I'm just a college football fan out here that like to watch ball. Listen, if you are an all over college football fan, I just had, while we were talking, a preview of FSU and Georgia Tech. The first game up on the slate. I had a preview drop, so go check that out. You'd be surprised. Yes, Georgia Tech is the rival, but when I talk preview, I got to be objective. I don't think they're gonna. I think if you're a betting person, listen, don't bet the house on Coach I, but they're 11.5-point dogs. Take the points. That's all I'm gonna tell you. But yeah, man, Fanatic Sports, man, I appreciate you having me on, Ty.
Of course, man. And did that drop? Yep, right here. Seeing it right here. I'm going to
Yeah, so get in the comments, man. Let me know what y'all think about it. Florida State, Georgia Tech. I'm not as high on Florida State as, you know what I'm saying, everybody else is. But I think, yeah, go watch the preview.
Steven, this is Coach I of Fan Addict
No,
Sports
he knows.
Network.
He's
Okay.
just messing. Right, because, yeah, Stephen G's a member of the channel.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I just linked the video right here as we're winding down as we introduce the 5th member and obviously Coach Sean, JMHO Sports. Be sure to give him a sub. Great content over there. Shout out to him. Shout out to both of you. Thank you both for joining me today. A lot of fun. Coach I, we're going to have to do this more. And I have put his new video in the comments right here. Here is the link to it. But now it's time for the 5th member of the panel to say their final words. Always quiet, always respectful, but always loud when it comes time to the end. That's the spinning wheel of doom. Be sure to check out this video I have up on screen and in the chat. I'm sure it's a great one. Coach I does great work over the Fan Addict Sports Network. A lot of great shows over there. So until Monday, that's it. See ya.